There's over 110 orbs in Peglin, the awesome Pachinko Roguelike, and over the last 5 years the game's been out, I've played it a lot. I have hundreds of hours in the game. We have over 400 episodes on this channel. It's our longest running series, and with Peglin 2.0 out for a couple months, I thought now is the perfect time to do a big tier list where we rank every single orb in the game according to how good they are and how much I like them. So this is a big video, but I know a lot of people have been waiting for it. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything, and let's just jump right in. So this is the tier list here. Here's all of the orbs in the game. And we also have Peglin pulled up so we can look at all the individual levels and things like that. But starting out, we have to decide where Peglin is going, or where the pebble is going to go, right? I mean, I got to imagine that it's going to be D tier, because I wouldn't say it's F tier, because there are some ways to get Orbalisk and things like that. You know, to buff it up, you have things like Suffer the Sling. But overall, this is the default orb that everybody has, right? I don't know. I could see C, but I'm going to put it in D tier for now, honestly. We'll maybe up it depending on what things look, right? But then we have Dagorb here, which is the weak regular damage, massive crit damage. It can make its way up to a 113. It is the default orb for default Peglin. And I don't know, I always kind of complain about it a little bit because you're not always wanting to do a crit build, and it's a starting orb. And if you are doing a crit build, there are way better options than Dagorb, but it's not terrible. So I'm kind of stuck between B and C. If I'm putting Pebble at C, and it can be good, and I know I've complained about it. I'm going to put it in C tier, as it being a starting orb. But then we have Rub Orb, which I have learned to love, right? Rub Orb is the bouncy orb. 2/4, it becomes a 3/6, and it becomes a 4/8, and it does become more and more bouncy as you do it. And so I think Rub Orb honestly would be A tier. I'm tempted to put it to S tier. Also, yeah, those of you guys watching live, let me know what y'all's opinions are, you know, keeping up with it. I'm curious. I'm going to ultimately make the decisions that I think, but I am curious y'all's opinions as well. Same thing for those of you guys on YouTube. Let me know. getting arguments, civil arguments in the comments down below. Let me know what I did wrong. But I'm going to put Rub Orb here at A. I have learned to love it. Early couple years, you know, I didn't use it a lot, but I've definitely learned to love it. It goes hard. Very good single target. Then we have Splat Orb, which is the starting orb for Spinventor. He's all about slime. This just adds rubber slime and makes the pegs more durable and more bouncy. 2/4 going into a 3/6, going into a 4/8. I do think Splat Orb is one of the worst slime effects. To be honest, you do have some synergies with some of the relics that get buffed up by other things. Now, in terms of, is Dagorb better or worse than Rub Orb? Like, Rub Orb can be pretty consistent, but Dagorb has highs that I think Splat Orb doesn't get to. So I'm going to say C here. And let's see here. Swoltorb. Swoltorb upgrades pegs 2/4, 3/5, 4/6, and then upgrading things multiple times. I genuinely think Swoltorb is one of the best orbs in the game. I'm tempted to put it S tier because there are so many builds. Like, any build almost consistently can use it. I don't think there's any build that isn't wouldn't benefit from having your orbs be buffed. I definitely think it's better than Rub Orb. I'm going to put it in S tier for now. It might get moved down, but Swoltorb, the fact that Swoltorb buffs every peg it hits, right? We'll here soon get into Best Foot Forward, who only hits the first. But I think it's going to be S tier. I think, yeah, that. Then we have Reorbanizer, which is interesting. Last episode that we recorded, Reorbanizer got us the win, or we were probably gonna win anyways. But it's a 2/5, 3/7, then a 4/9, and what it does is it shuffles crits and refreshes every couple pegs you hit. And also if you discard it, it'll shuffle that as well. So the only real reason that you would want to use that is kind of in a duplication potion build. Like exactly like SLX said. If you have duplication potion, the relic, which is anytime an orb moves, it leaves an old version of it. This becomes an entire build alone. But if you're not doing a duplication potion build, I've never once taken Reorbanizer outside of a duplication potion build unless I was helping, because you can't even really rely on Reorbanizer to help refresh screw you, right? Like if there's a refresh that's really hard to get, like maybe it helps you get it, maybe it gets it out of a hard area, but it could also move it to another hard area or something like that. So I'm gonna put it B tier for now. It does create, once again, an entire build like in itself, but and you know, I see people saying it is actually good at unsticking bad refreshes and things like that, but I think there's so many better options for getting yourself unscrewed. So we might bump it up to A, but I think I'm gonna put it at B for now because it is very situational. We then have Infernorb, which is lighter than other orbs. It detonates bombs in one hit. It destroys shields in one hit, but then it hurts you. You can upgrade it to a 4/7 and then a 5/9. I think Infernorb is one of the orbs that I don't utilize a lot. It does good damage. It is lighter than others. There's some specific synergies. If you're doing a bomb build, it can be good. If you're theoretically doing the very niche shield build, that can be good as well. But the fact that it's hurting you constantly, there's not a lot of times that I ever really want it. Man, it feels weird to put it in C tier, but honestly, like I don't utilize it a lot, and it can be good in bomb builds and things like that, but it's hard for me to put it above Reorbanizer because Reorbanizer is build defining. I'm gonna put it at top of C tier because there's not very often in which I want to utilize an orb that's hurting me and not doing a super great damage. It's good for self-damage builds, but you know, how often are we doing self-damage builds and stuff like that, you know? It is not worse than Splatorb. Do not put it below Splatorb. Yeah, I definitely don't think it'd be worse than Splatorb. I think it's going to be C tier for now. Definitely not worse than Splatorb. Or Dagorb, I would say. I think it is probably arguably better than Dagorb because there are some situations where it's like really, really good. Like if you're doing a bomb build or something. Ball Lightning here is very quirky. Very low damage with 1/1, 1/1, 1/2. And it's the one that, you know, zaps other orbs and it creates electricity and things like that. And if you crit, it'll hit everybody in a single column. Now, Ball Lightning is probably S tier. If we were only talking about Spinventer. If we were only talking about Spinventer, because Spinventer has Spinvent originality, where every unique orb has +1/+2, because the stats are really low, but it hits a lot of orbs. So if you have a build that can actually upgrade, you know, damage, whether that's, you know, upgrading, or, you know, Spinventer's relic, starting relic, or any of the other relics, Ball Lightning can be really good. But a lot of the times when I am not playing as Spinventer, it is hard. It's hard for me to take. But it can be good. It could be good in a bomb build. It could be good in, you know, things like that. I think I'll keep it at A tier. I think if it's gonna stay in A tier, it's gonna probably be one of the worst A tiers. But it is hard because we're talking about a lot of different characters, and then we're talking about also what's it called? A lot of different characters, and we will get into Act 4 versus non-Act 4 a little bit later or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of relics that could make it help. So I'm gonna put it at A tier with the caveat that it will get put pretty down A tier. Hot take: Ball Lightning's only good in builds that are already good enough to win. It is exclusively a win more orb. I don't know. It can help at like theoretically helping get refreshes or crits or things like that, but it's either it depends on how busy A and B tier are gonna be. But I'll put it in A. That doesn't feel right. I'm going to put it at the top of B tier. Never mind. I lied. I'm going to put it at B tier. And yeah, Peglin can be a very dynamic game. Absolutely. So we're going to say B tier. Okay. We stayed on that for a while. Bucklorb has been changed many a time. In its newest Peglin 2.0 version, it's a 1-1-2, 2-3, 3-4. And it is big at every level. And it just gives you bulwark, and it also does damage. So there's a lot of orbs that give bulwark that I am not in love with. I do tend to like Bucklorb more than most of them because it can do solid damage. 3-4 is pretty good. The older version of Bucklorb, I think, made it pierce, and I loved that. But it being big is solid. It's just, and I think it's a common relic or something like that. I don't think this, oh yeah, we're still in common relics here. So it is a common relic. Honestly, but like a lot of the times I'm not playing as bulwark, like a bulwark build. I think, honestly, I probably take it more than Inferno Orb. I think it's consistent, and I have no problems and no quarrels with it. If you have big fish, it's a big orb that could work with big fish. If you're doing a bulwark build, it is one of the better bulwark orbs, I think. But yeah, it just does an okay amount of damage. It does an okay amount of bulwark, but if you're going, you know what? I'm gonna put it behind Inferno Orb. I'm gonna put it in behind Inferno Orb. Bucklorb being heavy made it harder for me to use. I tend to be okay with heavy orbs. There's certain boards that can be a bit rough with it. But I'm going to put it at C tier. I still honestly would rather have it over a Dag Orb or a Splat Orb. But I'll put it at C tier. We might move that later on here. Then we have Ballad, whatever, which is a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And it will give you, just after attacking, 1 Spiness, 2 Spiness, 3 Spiness. This, honestly, A tier, if not S tier. Probably A tier because I'm not often in High Crucible wanting to do crit builds. But if you are doing a crit build, Ballad should be in your deck, most likely. Like, just any amount of way to get Spiness. And I always love orbs that do something regardless of the board state, right? There's going to be some orbs that we'll look on later where it's like, oh, you get stats if you hit enough crits, or you get stats if you hit enough orbs or pegs or whatever. But just no questions asked, 3 Spiness, plus if you have any relics that, you know, add more Spiness or anything like that. It's solid. I've never once had a crit build in which I didn't want Ballad. So I think because of the versatility of Rub Orb, I gotta have it higher. But I think the reason it doesn't make S tier for me is High Crucible. Unless I'm playing Round Roll, I'm not often doing crit builds. The loss of 1 refresh and 1 crit early in the Crucible wheel can make it kind of hard to have a consistent crit build. And yeah. Does Ballad still fail if you deal 0 damage? I don't think so. I don't actually remember if it ever did that, but it probably did, and I just don't remember. But I really like Ballad. It is very good. It is very good. We then have Spinfectious Sting, which is going to be an interesting orb for me to actually think about and place here. It is one of 3 poison orbs that natively add poison, if we're not counting double, which we'll talk about later. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, so it never gets bigger, but you are adding more and more Spinfection. And then the reason I said I'll do a crit build on Round Drill a lot is because you are almost doubling the amount of Spinfection you're adding if you hit a crit. Which I just, once again, very nice at level 3. Once again, like, doesn't matter board state. If you can just throw the orb, right? This might have to hit at least 1. I don't actually know. But you're going to get guaranteed 5 Spinfection. I personally, anything with after attacking will always do it. See, and so this says on hit, right? So if you did 0 damage, Spinfection Sting wouldn't actually be thrown. So yeah, poison is the reason I said poison is kind of interesting because Round Drill is my personal favorite class. I love debuff builds. I love poison builds in any game. But this is the worst poison orb for sure. Poison, if you don't get good relics or double, which we'll talk about later, can not be that great late game. So I'm gonna say B tier. Maybe C tier. If it was C tier, it would be... I'm going to say B tier. I'm going to say B tier. And I don't think it has any right to be higher than these orbs, because these orbs like can be build defining in certain builds. This is not a build defining orb. If you're doing a poison build, there's still sometimes I'll do a poison build and I don't want this. But most of the time, if you're doing a poison build, or if you don't have any single target, it can be good. I'll give it B. I think it deserves B. And so we're still in common orbs here. Here we have the other upgrading orb, Best Foot 4 orb. 2-3, this can target any enemy. 2-3, 3-4, 4-5, and it goes from upgrading the first peg you hit, 10, 20, or 30. But Best Foot 4 orb, I think, is definitely worse than Swoltorb. Right, Swoltorb, the fact that it can hit every single peg is just great. It feels better. It's nice. I don't think it's a bad orb at all. Honestly, it's pretty solid. It does get better if you have multi-ball. And yeah, it would be somewhere between A or B. You know, with it hitting single targets, that can be a good thing. It can help you be an orb that lets you hit backlines if you don't have AoE. But if you don't have AoE, you're going to lose the game anyways. Like that, this isn't going to make you win the game. I think I'm going to put it B. I think definitely highest of B, because once again, this is an orb that never feels bad to take. And there are certain situations where it really shines, right? Like if you're doing a boss or an elite and you keep hitting the top of the board, and you keep hitting and just keep upgrading the same orb, you can have an orb, a peg, that has like plus 100 or something. Especially if you have some multi-ball. So I'm gonna put that at top of B. Also, I need to maybe, this could probably be a long video. I don't know. We're ranking every orb here. But yeah, not really a standout, but pretty solid. So we're still here in common orbs. So here's Cirque, and I don't tend to use this orb very often. We did take it recently. At level 1, 3-1 multi-ball. When this orb leaves the pegboard, it gains bulwark. Upgraded, 5-1 with no changes on the orb, and then 7-1. So it never gets more multi-ball. So you're just by default, you're really only wanting this, I think Balladin, because some of the, well, obviously default Peglin can find this, but this is a Balladin orb as well. Balladin tends to want to do non-crit builds. That's why the non-crit damage is going up here. I wish it gained multi-ball too at level 3, honestly. Because unless you add more multi-ball, I do like that if you have more multi-ball via relics, you'll gain more bulwark. But all it is even at max level, 7-1, so you specifically need to be doing a non-crit build, which I would say is more common than a crit build, but the fact that the damage gets cut so hard if you accidentally hit a crit can make it hard, especially with multi-ball. And then you're only gaining 1 bulwark times 2, which would be 2 bulwark. And it's just I don't know. It feels so situational. I'd have to put C. And honestly, I feel like it's weirdly more situational than the default. Am I really going to put it worse than default orbs here? I don't know. Because it's just like, you can't have it in a crit build, period. And it's less situational than Splatorb. Yeah, maybe I would rather have it more than Splatorb. Dagorb, I don't know. Once again, I guess Dagorb's the same situation. But if you're doing a crit build, Dagorb has more potentials to blow up than this thing, right? With things like Crits Malos and stuff like that. And if you do have certain relics, right, to buff up your bulwark gain, it could be good. If you have more multi-ball, could be good. You know, I'll put it over to Dagorb. I won't disrespect it too much. I will put it above the starting orbs. I do think it's gonna sit here at C tier for me. Do I put it above the other bulwark? No, because the other bulwark orb doesn't get capped in the freaking ass for getting a crit. Yeah, not as high. I think we're gonna put it there. I think we're gonna put it there. C tier here. We might move it later. Then we have Twoo's Company, which is another slime orb. So 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. But this is just adding a bunch of double damage slime to the board. And, you know, obviously you get more if it is downgraded. I think they might have recently said that, because I know the game didn't always say that if you have negative things, you know, it gets upgraded here. But True's Company, I would say double damage slime is one of the stronger slime effects, just in general. Doubling up damage can be very good. So I would say it's definitely either at B tier or A tier. It's also hard to think about how we're doing this because, you know, this is like a Spinventer and default Peglin orb only, right? But it is probably one of the best double damage slimes, and we already have a lot in B tier, so I will put it at A tier. That might get bumped down, but double damage slime goes hard. And then we have the last common orb. Now, there are some other common orbs at the end when we're looking at some of the other classes, orbs that default Peglin does not have access to, because that's just how we're organizing it. But just to keep it simple here, we're going to look at, for now, the last common orb here, Susceptible. And this is a 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, which adds exploitable if you are hitting crits. At level 1, it's effectively doing nothing. You're very rarely going to hit 2 unless you're really late. You need to upgrade it desperately, but when you upgrade it, I think this orb is terrible in Act 1. I have learned that if I take Susceptible in Act 1, I will lose the run. But it is if you're doing a crit build, some of the best scaling that you can get, because Exploitable is making enemies take way more percentage of extra damage from crit hits, especially with Act 4, making the games and runs go even longer. Honestly, I think Susceptible, crazy for me to say, but I think S tier. I think for similar reasons as Ballad, if you are doing a crit build, you want one of those in your deck. You probably do. There's nothing that would make you not want that, really. I feel like Susceptible shouldn't be higher than B tier to upgrade Reliant. Susceptible, I think as long as you upgrade it a single time, I'll give you that you can't. I don't like taking it in Act 1. It's horrible at level 1. And so as more S tier orbs get added, it might end up at the end. It's definitely not going to be like high up on S tier, but like it scales you like crazy. So now we're in uncommon orbs here. Sphere. And Sphere is actually, in my opinion, the best starting orb in the game. This is Baladin's starting orb. 2/4 piercing 1, 3/5 piercing 2, and 4/6 piercing 3. I think it's arguably one of the worst AoE orbs because of the simple fact that, you know, you do have a limit to the amount of enemies that you're allowed to pierce, but it's just solid. It's solid. If you don't have AoE in your deck and you stumble upon Sphere, I don't think you'll be disappointed, right? And so I'm gonna put it in B tier. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I was thinking maybe A, but it is, I think, one of the worst AoE orbs, and I think you have to value AoE orbs a lot in this game, and so it makes me want to artificially do it, but I think, more consistent than Ball Lightning, Reorbanizer, Poison, but there's a lot of situations, if you already have your AoE solved, I wouldn't ever really take it, and I definitely not as versatile as Best Foot Forward. So we're gonna put that here in B. Then we have Bramble, which Bramble is spicy. I don't know how to feel about this. It's a 3/5. You apply what used to be called Bramble. Now it's Tangled, where enemies can't move, and then enemies that move through them get hurt a little bit. It does hurt you when you use it. 3/5. At 4/7, it gives it Overflow, which Overflow allows the damage to carry on to the next enemy, so it can be really good if you have no AoE. And then it just does more Tangled and Overflow. You can get Bramble from an event. It could be good if you are playing as Roundrel and you're trying to do a lot of status effects. What I like about Bramble is there's a lot of elites and relics that Bramble destroys. Like, as an example, in Act 1, the red slime boss, you put a little bit of Tangled on the red slime, it's great. There's some enemies that it would be great on, like the wall, but it just doesn't work. Tangled. I got a bone to pick with status effects in this game. Always have, always will. A game kind of picks and chooses via the logic it tries to determine what status effects work on others. So there's some enemies that you would really want to apply Tangled to, and the game just tells you to screw yourself. But it does a lot of damage. The fact that it has overflow, it does hurt you constantly, though. So you need to be able to either be in a self-damage build, which I would say is very uncommon, or you just need to have a lot of sustain to use. So I think I only really take this if I am like desperate for overflow, or, you know, if I'm doing status effects and it has some uses and things like that. 2 self-damage isn't really that bad. I think C would be too low. I do think I gotta put it somewhere in B tier. I don't think I could, in good conscience, put it in A tier. I would say definitely better than Poison. I don't know if it's better than Reorbanizer. I think on average it's better than Reorbanizer. But Reorbanizer being build-defining, Bramble is not build-defining. And, oh, the placement here is weird. You know what? I'll get over myself. I'll put it there. I'll put it at relatively the highest of B tier. I do think it's better than Sphere. It does a lot of different things, but there's a lot of times that you just can't afford a Bramble in your deck. Sometimes that self-damage can really screw you, but I'll put it there. I'll put it there for now. I don't think it's as consistent as Best Foot Forward. I personally think it's high A. It definitely, you know, could be. I could see why. We'll see, but that's that. Then we have Orbsium, which is an orb that we don't take a lot. Orbsium here is, it's dense, so it is heavier. And it activates pegs multiple times, and you can target anyone 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It does get more dense, which is interesting. I don't think I actually knew that here. Orbsium S, best scalar, best crit orb because of multi-hit. The fact that it's consistently always a 1-2, I think hurts it. That's a good argument that it does help with the Act 4 boss, right? And it is very good, you know, in certain crit builds or scaling builds and things like that. I do enjoy Orbsium. It isn't a part of all of my great builds. I don't know. I think it would be somewhere in B, honestly. Because it can be really good. It can be really good. The ceiling of an Orbsium build, as Call Me Breaded said, is very high. You can do a lot of really good, and Hyper brings up a good point. Act 4 can be very, very good as Act 4. The reason I can't put it higher is the fact that it's a 1-2. So it's one of those orbs, exactly like whatever the other orb was that I said, lightning, right? Where you need to either be playing Spinventor to get that damage up a little bit, or you need to get some orbs or things like that. But I'm gonna say B. I'm gonna say B. We then have Bulldorb here, which I believe only default Peglin and Baltazár have access to. It is a big orb. It pierces all ground enemies. And 2-4, 3-6, and 4-8. And Bulldorb is part of the Orbalisk build. So Orbalisks will buff up Bulldarbs. You also have things like Big Fish, technically. There's some synergies there. I'm going to say, honestly, Bulldorb is A. Bulldorb is a solid tier. Honestly, I think I'm going to put it at max of A here. I think it's better than Ruborb. I think it sucks sometimes when it doesn't hit flying enemies if you really need it to, but it is, for ground enemies, some of the best AoE you can have in the game. It gets buffed by Orbalisk, so you've got a whole build built in there. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely put it A. I do like Bulldorb a lot. Put Orbsium next to Lightning. They're friends. I don't know though, because I think Orbsium is better than Sphere for sure. But I think Orbsium is also better. Yeah, no, I can't. They're best friends, but they're forever separated by Sphere. Okay, here's Omega Orb. I haven't taken this. I have not taken this orb in probably over a year or two, honestly. Peglin and Hades, Boulder being best companion. Bold Orb is S tier for me. If we end up getting a lot of A tier, I could see it getting bumped to bottom of S tier. I'm tempted, but we'll leave it at A for now. But Omega Orb here has overflow, and it has a lot of damage, 913 at max, but it downgrades the pegs. So it's a very short-term orb. And if I'm going to go to a short term, I would rather have Oh My Gorb, which we'll talk about here later. And with Act 4 being a thing, is it F? I don't know. It's probably not F. It can lose you runs if you lose, though. Pebble can't lose you a run. Pebble can't soft lock you. But I don't know. I don't like it. You'd never believe it, but Omega Orb is actually a really insane orb. And I bet some people out there like it. I am an Omega Orb expert. It's very useful. Omega Orb at least synergizes with Slime and Spin Doctor Orb. True. If you know what? I was gonna put it D tier. I will put it C tier for y'all. I'll put it C tier. Because I never use it, and this is my tier list, but there are some synergies, right? Specifically, if you're doing a Spin Doctor or Slime build, you would probably need to be on Spin Venter there, or default Peglin, I guess. But you can soft lock yourself. If you're smart, you won't soft lock yourself. Furthermore, because of y'all rooting for it, I will at least put it above the starting orbs. I emotionally don't want it here, but I have been convinced I'll at least bump it up a little bit for y'all. But it's not going higher than that. Here's All or Nothing. Actually, probably I don't use this a lot. We used this last episode. This is, I think, one of the best crit orbs in the game. It's a 0-9 starting out. And what makes it so good is any effects that buff up non-crit damage actually just buff up crit damage. So if you are doing a crit build, it's great, obviously. I mean, it's horrible if you're not doing a crit build. But it's like one of the best crit builds orbs you could get because of the fact that, say, Crits Malos, the relic that, the more crits you hit, it does more and more damage based on the difference between crit and non-crit. It goes hard. And at level 3, it is a 0-13. And just very, very, very good. So I don't know. We don't have, I mean, the only crit orb we have here is there. So I'm going to say, I will say it can't touch, I don't even think it's better than the potion, because ultimately all it is high crit damage, and it has the cool gimmick of turning non-crit to crit. Hold on. No, it's good in a non-crit build. Well, I see what you're saying. It's good in a non-crit build if you still have ways to get crits. It's better, even better in a Mustercall build. And I've never used All or Nothing in a non-crit build, because you are right? Because of the fact that it specifically says plus 5x, at max. So say you would actually have 3. But the thing is in a non-crit build, in a Mustercall build, you do kind of want to remove all of your crits. So that is a extreme situational thing. If you had crit equilibrium, it could help you, and that can appear on Baltazár too, is interesting. So I will put it at A tier, because I do think it's one of the best crit orbs. And, obviously there's some arguments here for it being decent at crit equilibrium or in a Mustercall build. I don't think it is consistent enough to beat out any of these other orbs in A here. So we're going to do that. Then we have Icicle, which is very good. I'll just say that. If you crit in general, no matter what, it pierces everyone. And that doesn't mean it hits all enemies, right? If there's flying enemies, they wouldn't get hit by this unless you aim at the flying enemies, right? But 2-4, 3-6, and 4-8. Now, if you do not crit, it will always only pierce one enemy, but if you crit, it'll pierce all enemies. And I think this is one of the best AoE orbs, and I think in general, AoE orbs are very good. You really need AoE going into certain things like castles. So I am going to say definitely A tier. Definitely A tier. I think because it's AoE, it provides more value than all or nothing. And honestly, I think same thing with the potion. I think just the fact that it is a source of piercing, and if you crit, pierces everybody that you're at least aiming at, would be really good. So I think it's better than a lot of A. I don't think I could go as far as to S, right? But piercing is really good. Oh yeah, and then I did forget about that. It doesn't say it. Yeah, orb. Oh no, it does. I just can't read. Orb pierces first peg. I did forget about that. So it is a little bit quirky too, in terms of the actual board as well. So that can get you into some situations that would really hurt. I still think Ballad, it's hard for me to put it above Ballad because Ballad is like one of the best orbs you could probably have in a crit build. But yeah, could help you get refreshes, things like that. Definitely solid A tier. For sure. Oh man. Because I do... You know what? I think I have to actually put Ballad above Rub. No. I think I'm gonna stick. I think I'm gonna stick with that because this is just crazy. Okay. Darkness Etterball, quirky one here. This has overflow. I don't think this always had overflow. I think before this used to be targeted, unless I'm remembering incorrectly. But it applies 11 darkness with overflow 2-5, then 18 darkness 3-7, then 25 darkness 4-9. I think if we were talking about older Peglin, this orb used to be a lot worse. And this is why I'm glad that we're doing the tier list here late, 5 years after the game came out, because there's been a lot of balance changes. Darkness Etterball was never targeted. Used to be regular projectile with lower darkness. Okay, so I guess I'm just remembering incorrectly. But the overflow is great. 4-9 is great. 25 darkness is an insane amount of darkness. Once again, it's hard how to it's hard for me to figure out how to value certain status effects because of the whole half the enemies in the game don't take certain status effects. That's me exaggerating a little bit. I'm gonna say very solid. I actually think it's just underrated. I think I don't take it enough. I genuinely actually think it's A tier. I just think it doesn't get picked up enough. Like, I think darkness in general is just not a super valued status effect. But if we're talking about you go to Act 3, you go to Act 4, darkness is really good. 25% dodge is not good. Yeah, it's definitely not good against normal enemies. But there are elites and bosses that it can destroy. But I don't know, and the fact that it has overflow. Right, the fact that it is overflow is pretty strong. I'm gonna put it at A tier. I think it's always gonna be near the bottom of A tier, and it's just hard to value because nobody takes it. Honestly, it's weirdly not an exciting orb, but I think it's good. And here we have Ek Orb. You guys know where this is gonna go. This is in my opinion the best AoE orb in the game because no questions asked, it attacks all enemies. Hits flying and hits ground enemies at a 30% echo value, then a 60% echo value, and then a 100% echo value. So if you have good single target orbs, any good orb that's going to get a lot of damage, Ek Orb is just, in my opinion, the strongest AoE orb in the whole game. Honestly, I think it's S tier. It is the strongest orb that we have ranked so far. Hot take, Ek Orb is only as good as the worst part of your build. You do still have a discard though. So, I mean, I guess, well, yeah, like if you get a bad orb, like sometimes it's not good, right? There are situations where it'll come after a bad orb. But I think in general, I think it is the best AoE. And I'm honestly surprised that it is this, there's this much discourse around it. Because someone's saying it's B for me. I know it's good, but I'm more focused on my actual build. Taking an Ek Orb feels wrong. I think it's the best AoE. It can do more damage than any AoE orb in the game. Like hands down. and it can turn single targets into AoE. Sometimes it might screw you over, not gonna lie. Not screw you over, it just might not be good. But, right, it is a 0-1. So, you know, you could theoretically get some damage on it and things like that, but I have to put it at S tier for sure for us. Then we have Refresh Circle, which refreshes the board, you know, when it hits more and more pegs. And when you draw it, it instantly creates refresh. This is also a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So it always stays as a 1-2. But the reason I like Refresh Circle so good, and I think this is maybe one of the orbs that got buffed as well. If you don't need it, right? Like you don't need a bunch of refreshes, you can just discard it and get a free refresh on the board. Now you do have to wait until that is level, no, actually at level 2. Level 2, it gets refreshed. And the fact that, you know, if you draw it, it adds 3 temporary refreshes, you discard it, it refreshes the board. That is an obscene amount of value to get from not even having to throw the orb. And actually, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think that's S tier. Refresh Circle is one of the most consistent orbs in the game, because we talk about in High Crucible especially, getting refresh screwed is one of the most dangerous things ever. So taking an orb that you can get value out of even if you discard is bonkers. And then if you actually have a refresh build where you have, you know, the refresh book or whatever, it goes hard. It goes hard. I think, and the fact, like, I always thought that you had to get at level 3 to be discarding, refreshing the board. The fact that that comes at level 2, that's crazy. Refresh synergy is the most powerful synergy in Peglin. I guess it depends on what we're defining as a synergy. But definitely one of the most. I would agree with that, actually. So I'm gonna put that at S tier. It isn't ever one of the things that, unless you have a refresh build, that feels so broken. But in terms of pure value that you get, the fact that you get value even if you don't use it, it's got to be S tier. Then we have Oh My Gorb, which is what we were referring to earlier. I have not taken this in over a year as well. This permanently destroys pegs off of the peg board, but it hits all enemies, like Ekorb. So 5-9, 7-11, and then 9-13. I have learned, I just haven't taken it in a while, but I do really like Oh My Gorb. I think it can be fun as long as you are patient. And I know I lowered Oh My Gorb because of that same reason. But the fact that it hits all enemies, like no questions asked, it is crazy, man. Everybody's saying it sucks. Will never fail to be scary and intimidating. Because you could have Bag of Orange Pegs. I don't think it's F. I haven't taken it in a while. But like, if you take it, like if you don't have AoE, you know, and it can be a decent finisher, the fact that Act 4 exists makes it a lot worse. But honestly, I actually think, even though I haven't taken it over than a year, I genuinely think it can be used. I don't use it very often. Oh man, I'm surprised you guys like Omega Orb and not Oh My Gorb. That does surprise me. It's actually anti-synergy with Bag of Orange Pegs. I don't think so. I think Bag of Orange Pegs says you up your value, your multiplier for more missing pegs and removed pegs. That's why it's really good in bomb builds too, because if you don't have the refreshing bombs, bombs will permanently remove pegs. But like, you know, I'm gonna put it over these starting orbs, even though I haven't taken it. And I'm gonna put it over Omega Orb, even though I've not taken either of these orbs in a while. I don't think it deserves to be too low. I think there's a situation for it. Here's another orb I have not taken in forever. This is Extraordinary, very similar to the crit, All or Nothing. It effects that apply plus X plus Y, so it's always going to be non-crit, right? Up to a 7-2. It's hard for me to pick this, right? Like, because I put All or Nothing so high. The thing is there's no way that this can ever be as good as All or Nothing, because there's no relic that having a difference between crit and non-crit is like broken with crit smallows, right? But having more non-crit over crit isn't that great. So you need to be doing a non-crit build. And then even then, the highs will never be as high as all or nothing. Never, never, never. It's insane if you can't hit the crit. Don't undervalue it. Refresh, book, and crit equilibrium. Just make them both look good. Yeah, I am... Oh, man, honestly, and this might deserve to be higher, but I will put it over the poison because I understand that I just might not be using it. I don't think I can ever put it higher than Reorbanizer because I just don't think that the high of that orb will ever get as high as some other, orbs. If you're playing on round, you'll have like 7 Spiness. You know you can't hit the crit. It's perfect. Getting you like 200-300 damage. So some people probably would want this higher. I don't think I can reasonably put it higher than Reorbanizer. Concentration now. Oh, if you've been watching my Peglin videos, you know I love me this orb. This targets a single enemy. It pierces through anything that is not a refresh, a crit, or a bomb. And it ends up going to a 5/9. I think I like this orb more than other people. I will put this at S tier, honestly. I think it's hard to put it above refresh orb because the infinite value. But the reason I love it so much is because it is a incredible way to prevent yourself from being refresh screwed, which is super valuable. And you can do so much damage. Sometimes you will throw it and it will suck, but there are certain boards and certain the ways you will throw it where it will do so much absurd damage. And so this is probably something that some people might think is lower. But yeah, concentration is just consistently one of my favorite orbs. I am so happy to take it almost all of the time. All of the time. We might actually have my first F tiers here. Honest to God. Here is Necromancer. I genuinely think that these should be removed from the game. Both Necromancer and Morbid Orb feel like they are remnants of another class that should have been in the game. And whenever someone asks me what another class, if there could be a mod or a DLC that would do something, I've always said there should be a morbid like Necromancer class because this orb does not work. It sounds like everybody kind of feels the same way. Like what you just said is exactly the way I feel. I want this orb to work. I have never once in my 500 hours of gameplay gotten this to be good. Maybe I have several years ago. I'm sure we've done episodes on a custom class with Necromancer or something like that. But this is horrible. So this Necromancer cannot hit normal pegs. It can only hit dead pegs. It can't even revive dead pegs, I don't think. Like, it can't hit removed pegs, just like the temporarily gone pegs, right? And it does refresh them back. It then upgrades them. But I don't know. I can't stand this orb. I genuinely can't stand this orb, and I think it genuinely should be removed from the game until a Necromancer class comes back. Morbid Orb. Can Morbid Orb hit normal orbs, normal pegs? I think a lot of the times I just bring Morbid Orb down because it reminds me of Necromancer. But Morbid Orb just can hit normal pegs, and it also can hit default pegs. So it's kind of like that one boss relic that allows your orbs to get extra stuff when they do it. The lack of description for Morbid Orb pisses me off. I mean, it is pretty simple. I definitely couldn't put it at F tier. Definitely couldn't put it behind Pebble. I never take it because it reminds me of Necromancer. Necromancer is like the worst orb ever. But it is so fucking... Yeah, like the stats on it is pretty bad. I'm going to put it D tier. I'm going to put it above Pebble. But it's just like, I don't know. It's not consistent. It's not good. I think it should be removed from the game, but definitely not as bad as a Pebble. I think it's better than a Pebble, probably. Some people saying it's not better than a Pebble. But I don't know. Pebbles have the thing of like, oh, they could be in an Orbalisk build, but this you theoretically could have good reasons for it, right? Like if you're upgrading in an upgrade build or something like that. The Morbid does not get it literally double peg hits or something. You should start doing TTG guarantee seal of approvals that the orb will make it to the bottom of the screen. But yeah, I'm going to put it in D tier. I think I'm pretty okay with that. Also, we still got a lot, dude. This is more talking than I normally do. My throat, bro. This tier list is going to be way longer than I thought it was going to be. I didn't realize how long this was going to be. But okay. Here we have Memorb here. I like this orb. It feels kind of situational. It has definitely been improved in the fact that it is Act 4. It just says it can target anyone, and it just has bonus damage for all of the pegs that have been activated by any orb this battle, which is funny that it is remembering a value from our last run. It is very... it's actually pretty funny. But it has good stats as well. At level 3, it's a 4/8, 0.66 bonus damage. It's an orb that is not good early on, unless you're in an elite or a boss fight or something like that. But it is one of a solid strat for beating Act 4 and beating some of the later bosses and things like that. Yeah, if you were doing a multi-ball build, very, 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 very good. Yeah. Oh, maybe, yeah, it is remembering from last, or it might be thinking from the stats screen. That's interesting, yeah. Also, wait, it only shows you that number at level 1, which is kind of weird. But yeah, Memorb, yeah. I think, like, there's situations where, like, Best Foot Forward Orb could be better than it. But in the builds, like, that Memorb is, it's not very hard to pull off. It's pretty consistent. I'll put it above this, and it works via crit or non-crit, right? Anytime you have an orb, I think what makes it so good is the fact, like I said, any orbs that can ignore the board are very good. Like imagine you have done a build and you slowly accidentally deleted all of the orbs via bombs. Memorb remembers, right? And it doesn't matter that there's no pegs on the board. And I am going to put it above Icicle. Once again, Ballad is like Ballad's going to be our stone wall here, right? There's going to be a lot of things that are better than most. I don't think it could ever get higher than Ballad, but I think it's pretty high up. There's ways to really go crazy with it, and it's very consistent. Okay. Here we have Jack Orb Lantern. One of my most fun orbs here. The first time and then second time, or up to 2 times and then 3 times that it goes to the bottom of the board, it comes back. So it's like pumpkin pie, but it happens on its orb and it can happen multiple times and things like that. It targets any enemy. The thing that sucks about it and brings it down is it is a 1/2. So it kind of has the problem that Ball Lightning has, where if you were Spinventer, oh, this orb is insane, right? If you are a Spinventer, or if you have a way to up your damage, but if you do not, it isn't that great. And so I am weirdly, it's weird for me to say it, but the reason we put Ball Lightning in the middle of B tier is because it can help get refreshes, it can help get bombs, it can, help get crits, and so can Pumpkin Pie, but less reliably, because you just have to hope that it falls and it lands and where you want it, right? So I actually, as much as I want to thematically make everybody best friends, I think it's worse than Reorbanizer, even though I think the fun value in it's way more fun than Ball Lightning. It's way more fun than 80% of the orbs here on the thing. But for the most part, we're not judging fun. We're judging what I think like tier list objective power here. It's gonna be pretty low on C tier, honestly. You know what? I think I gotta put it even lower just because of the inconsistencies. It can be. You might be convincing me. If it's C tier, If it's C tier, it is going to be high C tier for me. But you know what? Sure, I've been convinced. It's just so inconsistent. And if you can make it work, it can be really good. But it will never be build defining. It can. If you're doing like a crit build and a crit Smolos and then you hit a bunch of crits, it can be good. You can't use it very often, right? So here we have Etherwheel. Now, Etherwheel is one of the most probably boring orbs in the game. But one of my absolute favorite orbs in the entire game, because all it is after you throw it, it refreshes the board. That effect never changes. It just gets more damage. It does at level 3 get the when discarded refresh the board, and that makes it so good. So all this really is decent single target damage, a guaranteed refresh no matter what. And then the fact that at level 3 it gets the when discarded refresh the board. I've never, if you're looking for a refresh, it's really good. I think it definitely deserves to be A tier. I think not build defining. So it's harder for me to start putting it above All or Nothing. But like Etherwheel doesn't disappoint, honestly. Etherwheel, if it didn't have at level 3 you can discard it for a guaranteed refresh, I would put it at B. But because, like, to me, if something has an effect on discard, that's almost an infinite value orb. Even though the value of a single refresh might not be that high, in my mind, theoretically, that is infinite value. Honestly. So I have to put Etherwheel high up. That's probably higher than a lot of people. But me and Magnet go back. Magnet is one of my favorite single target orbs. It just is like the Magnet relic. It is attracted to crits and refreshes, and then slightly to orbs and bombs, and it goes up to a 4/8. Magnet is 100% S tier. Me and Magnet have memories. It's crazy putting it in C tier. I think Magnet is one of the strongest single target orbs in the game, because if you're doing a crit build with crit Smolos or things like that, right, it is so easily going to hit multiple things. It's going to crits. It's going to potentially let you hit refreshes more. And I have seen Magnet do things that no other orb has ever done. And that's why I have eaten them before and gotten pregnant by them before. Only I'm allowed to eat them. Don't eat magnets. And don't get pregnant by Magnet. I will fight you. But me and Magnet go back, and it's got to be S tier. That's like one of the easier S tiers here for me. Here's Bully Ball. Bully Ball is quirky. We had a chance to do it last episode, and I didn't. We haven't really done Bully Ball in a while. I know a lot of people really swear by it. It is the orb that it gets stronger and stronger the more self-damage you take in a battle. It also does self-damage to you. What I don't like about it is it increases the self-damage that you take from everything. And I don't like that. I don't know if that's just when you use it. Honestly, I haven't used Bully Ball in a while. I don't, that's not globally. If it was globally, then that could be good. Self-damage it's okay. I'm saying this is why I'm glad we're doing it live. So it's only increasing its own self-damage. Okay. The only reason, what I like about it is it's a build, right? It creates a build. We keep talking about self-damage builds. Bully Ball is the only real way you will get damage payoffs off of a self-damage build. You could theoretically like do the healing, and then healing hurts, but you don't even necessarily need to do that because a lot of those things now, overhealing will still trigger that. But I don't know. I don't use Bully Ball, but I'll put it in A tier for y'all. I'll put it in A tier because it creates a build in itself, which is just really cool. And it does seem like it could be really good, in Act 4 and things like that. It is probably a little bit harder to use because it does keep making you hurt yourself more and more and more and more. But I just haven't really utilized it much. So I'm personally going to put it at probably the bottom of A tier. But even though I haven't utilized it too much and I don't have much experience with it recently, I'll give you guys A tier for that. And here we have my favorite, my literal favorite orb in the entire game. I am obsessed with Wrist Orb because at level 1 and level 2, all it does is one use per battle. You heal a little bit. You heal a little bit. You gain max HP. And there is no other orb in the entire game that does that. And so for me, it's S tier. I swear, if I see Wrist Orb in a tier above S tier, that would be funny. That would be funny. So I think and that's the thing, especially with Act 4, I feel even more valid in putting Wrist Orb in S tier because max HP is really important. You have more time to do it. Definitely better than Magnet. Definitely better than Concentration. Definitely better than Refresh Circle. Definitely better than that. Yeah, there you go. Top of S tier. Nobody didn't. Everybody expected that. Move on. Kaiden Orb. We got some gold orbs. So default Peglin can have these. I think Roundrill can have these. I don't think Baltazár and Spinventor can have these. But yeah, Kaiden Orb. So this just creates gold when you hit. It is kind of cool because when you draw it, it adds gold to the board. And then we just end up upping the damage and things like that. And it can't activate, doesn't pop or collect gold, doesn't pop or collect gold. So, I mean, gold builds can be good. I don't know. Gold builds, if you're doing a gold build, a lot of the times you're doing a gold build via, well, it depends. You've got like the interest with Spintress payment and then the orbs that we'll get into later that, you know, scale like crazy. This is just something that's like adding gold. And I don't know. It's, wait. Oh yeah, Kaiden Orb. I don't know. I skip them a lot, but like they can be good. But honestly, I don't know where to put this. It's either C or B tier. I think I just don't take them a lot. Basically as gift installed if you draw it early enough. Yeah, because the fact what it doesn't pop them. So I don't know. And it can keep your gold items and things like that going. It's hard for me to put it. Gold builds just always feel like a afterthought, you know? Like they can be good. I will say the fact that it just, you know, you add 5 gold to the board, I'll put it not above Reorganizer, but I'll move it up a little bit higher in B tier. And then we have the other gold orb. Each gold collected immediately deals damage and it can target any enemy. 4/8. So this is something that doesn't add gold. It's just part of potentially a gold synergy. And gold builds are inherently weak since you have to pivot away from them, unlike most other builds. I don't know. Hi there, mental mantle on crack. Yeah, it is kind of like a mental mantle. I never feel like it pays off, you know? I'm gonna weirdly put that C tier. Gold generators cannot be too good because gold is meta scaling. Yeah, because like if any of these things are too strong, then you know they do it. The reason I put this so high was because it gave you gold. This I don't know. We'll put it top of C tier. I don't really find if I'm thinking of a successful gold build, I'm thinking of just mainly an interest build with things that we'll get into later, like Highway Orbery or the bank, right? But yeah, because you will run out of gold on the board. That's the thing. Like it's just, I don't know, not that great. Protect Orb. This always does 0 damage unless you're buffing it up. You just gain Bulwark when you draw it, which is kind of cool because you can, discard it and you've still gotten some value. You can gain Bulwark from it. Yeah, where was my other, yeah, the other Bulwark Orb was here. I was saying I like that better than some other Bulwark Orbs. I think this is probably better. The fact that you just instantly get some. The thing that I don't like about it is I don't think it scales very well. I don't think Bulwark in general scales super well unless and it is a Baltazár Orb. So unless you are, if you're doing a Bulwark build, it's pretty good. You're getting multiple uses out of it. I don't think I can put it higher than Reorbanizer. But in a weird way, you know what? I'm gonna move Reorbanizer higher now that we're getting more. I'm gonna move it above Lightning, because, yeah, I don't know. The highs of Duplication Potion, we put Bully Ball up here because it was build defining. Reorbanizer is one of 3 parts of a build defining thing here. But very easy to manage, generates a lot more defense than Buckle Orb. Best part of Protect Orb is it'll usually protect you for 2 to 3 turns. Where do I even put it? So I'll put it above Lightning too. It's hard for me to put it above Reorbanizer, but you know, it's solid. If you're doing a Bulwark build, it'll be good. We'll do that. Then we have a Viscerbait. Weak regular damage, massive crit damage, and it can target anyone. So it's pretty much a Dag Orb that is actually, yeah, what does Dag Orb go to? Dag Orb goes up to a 113. So this is literally Dag Orb, but it can target people. That's really it. Which I would say is better than Dag Orb, right? So it definitely has to be better than Dag Orb. But it's just not a very, if I'm doing a crit build, it's not the most exciting. I don't take it very often, honestly. Honestly, we have to ask how much targeting does. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's worse than Dag Orb. I guess there's an argument to be made about targeted can help you because it can hit you backlines and if you don't have AoE, but if you have piercing, then this is worse. I think it's personally better than Dag Orb. I don't agree that it's worse. I can understand the situations. But Dag Orb, you have to consciously add it to your deck. Hey, you have to add Dag Orb to your deck on anyone than default Peglin. I think it's going to be here. I think it's pretty, I don't really like it. I don't really take it ever. I definitely couldn't put it worse than Dag Orb to me. But it's probably better than these here. If you had a crit build, not a bad choice. Here's Exacerbate. And it is eventually a 4/7, and it increases hit enemy debuffs. The problem is it does buff up, it increases all of the debuffs. So, you know, I mean, I don't need to list all of the debuffs. All of the debuffs. It's just hard to take. I think it takes too long. You have to upgrade it a lot. It never feels crazy good. But like, and you also need to be doing some sort of debuff build. But if you're doing a debuff build, it could be good. I probably would put it higher than Poison or whatever here. But even though, like, that's the thing, it does nothing. It does nothing if you aren't doing debuffs. So it's a weird orb. The reason I am not super happy about it is if you're playing as Roundrel, Roundrel's starting relic is every time you hit someone, you put a debuff on them. But the way the game works is Exacerbate won't even increase that. So if they don't have any status effects and you're playing Roundrel and you use that, it will upgrade nothing, and then you apply a status effect. And yeah, I don't know. It's just so situational. And even when I'm doing a status effect build, I'm not very often doing multiple status effects, right? You would have Exploitable, you would have Poison. So I understand the adding Poison, adding Exploitable, but I don't know. Maybe I'll up it a bit more. I don't think you go higher than Reorbanizer. It feels bad sometimes. Like, I don't like the damage on it, and you have to have already applied status effects. And even though status effects are my favorite thing in this game, I don't think they're that strong, honestly. I just don't. So I'll put it slightly higher, but I'm not in love with it. Cleave Orb. Also, yeah, we're still in Uncommon. We're about halfway through Uncommon here. Cleave Orb. Each crit triggered causes this orb to pierce an additional enemy. It eventually becomes a 3/9. Slight piercing. I don't know. This is Cleave Orb is so fun. Better than Bramball. I don't know. Bramball can stop certain elites and enemies from coming. It does have better piercing. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I think it's too much effort and not enough payoff. I'm putting it at C tier. I'm putting it as C tier. I'll put it at high C tier. That orb doesn't excite me. It doesn't feel good. It's okay. If you're doing a crit build and you need AoE, maybe. And it would be good at doing those things. Like if you're doing a crit build and you need AoE, that is a solid choice for you. But outside of that, the damage doesn't get crazy. And you're maybe doing one crit unless you got something crazy going and then you have a million crits. But I don't know. Yeah, just the amount of setup that would require is not great. Then we have Double Trouble. This is a kind of spicy one. It always is just one multi-ball. Sorry, there was an Amber Alert, and it was one of my friend's name, but it was only the first name. My friend isn't 9, but it is always sad when you see those. Double Trouble. So always multi-ball, 1/8. So you're getting a little bit of illusion, and you're doing decent crit damage. And multi-ball goes really hard in crit, because if you're doing a crit build and you have Crits Malos, that's like the most OP crit build you can get. More multi-ball goes really hard. Yeah, I'll put it A. I think it deserves A tier. Probably better than A, Bully Ball for me. Some people might not agree with that. And I will put it above Darkness Eternal Ball, Ether Ball, whatever it is. I can't put it above Etherwheel. Etherwheel feels like a strong, consistent wall to me. This still feels like, if you're not doing a Belusion build, it's nice to have a little Belusion, but sometimes that won't do anything. So you're just, multi-ball, 1/8. It's solid, He acts friendly to this orb, but he never takes it. I feel like I take it sometimes. It's S tier. I don't know about that. Okay, here's Orbrasion. Gain a Muscle for every... so yeah, this is the orb that the more pegs you hit, it does damage to you, and it gives you Muscle. Every time I have taken this, I do so much damage to myself. I see Average saying high S. I don't think I can. I don't think I can. Orbrasion is only as scary as you make it. This is another orb I haven't taken in years. I have lost every orb. You know what? I'm gonna get crucified for this take. I think this is going to be the most you guys disagree with me. I think this shit's D tier. I hate that orb. I hate that orb with a burning passion. And it is like, if you're balling in and you're doing a non-crit build, right, you might have Bulwark to actually protect yourself from the self-damage. I can't stand that orb. I cannot stand that orb. Like, when you're playing higher Crucible, like, imagine you have multi-ball. Like, this is an orb that can throw. You can lose the game with this orb. All credibility lost. I am surprised that orb is now the most that you guys disagree with me. But I can't stand that orb. I can't stand that orb at all. This is another orb I can't stand. Gain Mustical after attacking, but you give everybody else more Mustical as well. At the very least, this hits all enemies, though. And that's pretty cool. So it's definitely better. Once again, I don't know. These two orbs, I hate these orbs. I really do. I really, really do hate these orbs. I think the fact that it hits everyone, I will put it here. I will put it here. Above these two weird throwing orbs. It's just right along with the other things. But, I mean, hits everybody here. So, I'll do that. We then have Forbification. This adds shields to the board, and then you gain Bulwark for every shields on the board. Very good in Castle. Otherwise, unless you're doing a shield build, I find this to be one of the least consistent Bulwark builds or ways to gain Bulwark. It is goated in the Castle, so it can theoretically help you a lot in that, but it's... I don't know. I think it's one of the worst bulwark builds. Yeah, I don't know. I just would. It is cool if you could have the shield thing, the shield build going. It's only because it gives the shield after attacking. Yeah, I don't. Oh, if it gave it when it applied the shields, then I could work with it. Yeah, because then you would have the relics and you would have it triggering more often and stuff like that. But I'm gonna put that in D tier. I don't really like it. Or accentuate. This is gain muster coal and then you hurt yourself. This I can do. I think this is more reasonable than Orbrasion. Obviously, Orbrasion can give you way more muster coal, but it can hurt you a lot more. This is a lot of damage, but you know what you're getting into. I think Accentuate's better than Orbrasion. Because of the fact that, I don't know, like especially when you're talking about high crucibles, to me it's hard to take orbs that hurt you. I think it would be better than Orbrasion though. I personally am not a fan of self-damage. Too much. So I will put it, I think it deserves to be relatively high. I think I'll put it second at C tier. I think this orb is very, very, I'll put it top of C. I think I'll put it top of C because the muster coal you can gain is really good. But yeah, no, I am absolutely scared of self-damage in this game. Once you're dealing with like Crucible 20 and things like that, it is, all of those self-damage orbs are Act 2 orbs, but once you are there, they are good. There's really only one orb that specifically does too much self-damage, but yeah, I'll put that as C. So I guess all of these self-damage orbs are where y'all disagree with me the most. Here's Toil and Trouble, the second of 3 orbs that add Spinfection. This is pretty much the same thing as what's it called? This orb, but it can hit anyone. Which, you know, if you have piercing, this orb can be better, but I think in general this is a lot better of an orb, of a poison orb, because you know, consistent, could kill backlines. I don't think it would go higher than this. But the reason I like it is because, say, poison is best in elites and bosses, especially when you have double. And what sucks about this poison that theoretically could have piercing, could hit multiple people if you had relics for that, right? But most of the time, you're going to be hitting whoever the boss spawns. And this allows you to, the second you get it, to start putting poison on a backline or the boss. Also, wait, someone said, no, I think you still have to hit someone. I think it would fail if you do 0, I believe, because it says on hit. So I do think you have to, but I think it belongs in B. Now we have Cauldron Bubble, which is actually my second AoE orb in the game. My second favorite, AoE orb in the game. Targeted attacks still apply on hit if it does 0. It's a weird quirk. Okay, once again, glad I'm doing this live, so even more of a reason for it to be good. Cauldron Bubble. I believe this would need to hit something. But this is an AoE that then applies Spinfection, and it's one of the few AoE orbs that hit all enemies, no questions asked. I'm going to put it at S tier. I genuinely think it deserves S tier. I think it's the second best AoE orb in the game. And people are saying that it would still hit even if you miss. It's just good. It's just good. Another reason I like it a lot with the poison stuff as well is the fact that, you know, doesn't matter board state, you're going to be doing a consistent amount of damage. I think that's what we're going to do. Here's Highway Orbery, which is a very quirky build. This is the one that you can upgrade an infinite amount of times. Freaking Highway Orbery, it only shows us 3, but you can just upgrade it in an infinite amount of times. So this is a very, very good build if you're, to do if you're Balladin and you want one big single orb to make more bulwark at the start. And it's also a way to do an economy build. It's not as good as Piggy Bank later on, but I definitely think it deserves a spot in A tier. You do have to commit a lot to it, though, is the thing. So it requires a lot from you, but it is build defining. I think I'm going to put it above Bully Ball. Because it is just fun. Like, it's so good to have an orb that you can just keep dumping into, right? But yeah, compared to some of the other economy interest builds, I think it's one of the worst. But I think objectively it's good. I think it's pretty low A tier, but probably A tier. Then we have Generatorb. This is the one that applies Lightning Slime. Now, I didn't respect this until recently. I mean, it was good. I liked it, but we did a video recently where we stacked like just only Lightning Slime, and it was fucking crazy. It was very crazy. So I do think Lightning Slime is one of the better slimes. So I think in general we can't put it more than double damage. Maybe. I think it honestly deserves to just be right next to the other slime. I don't know. It can help you hit other things like refreshes and crit. But I think by itself, probably a little bit worse than double damage. Which I wouldn't have thought until I kind of learned to respect the double damage here. But, you know, I definitely think it's very strong. Very strong. Then we have Nimble. Nimble is an orb I think I've maybe taken once in my life. I don't use Nimble very often. It is small, so it doesn't hit very often. But good, insane crit damage. And you'll add Spiness. And you add Spiness before Nimble even goes off. So it's solid. I just don't use it. I don't like the fact that it's small. It is cool that you can have Spiness added to you before you attack. But Nimble is just so, I don't know. It's I think I gotta put it in C tier. I think it's objectively good. I just don't like it. I don't like it. It's hard to get more than one Spiness from this, to be honest. Yeah, I think honestly, I'll put it right there. I think these could be more consistent. You know, it goes beyond pumpkin. I think, man, I keep looking at these orbs, and I just keep moving it down and down. Okay, there we go. I think we're gonna put it in C tier. It's an S tier for me. Yeah, I'm sure the people that really like this orb really like it. I hate that. I hate that orb. Then we have Orbust. Now, Orbust, I like things that you get no matter the board state. So Orbust, when you throw it, it's gonna do a little bit of damage. Honestly, pretty decent amount of damage. And you're gonna gain Mustercle, and you're gonna gain Bulwark. No questions asked. You're getting all of those things. I think it is one of Baladin's strongest orbs. In the whole game. I don't know. It's hard for me to decide whether I want it more or less than Ballad. Probably less, because once again, I think in a crit build, crit is way better, and you can get way more, right? You'll always only be getting one Mustercle, which isn't a lot. I know you really like Orbust, but honestly, it doesn't really do much. Protects you for the turn, gives you one Mustercle for no cost, and it does decent damage, though. Like, it doesn't excel at anything, but I genuinely think it's one of Baladin's best orbs. Just hands down. It is so consistent. Then we have Duplicator, which we did use last episode as well in the Let's Play. This is very situational. At level 3, it gets multi-ball, which is very fun. It is always a 1-2, and it will duplicate. Like, when you hit a crit or a refresh, it will create more of them. Which is very good in a duplication potion build and relatively decent in general. The fact that it's multi-ball. The problem is if you're not doing a duplication potion build, I mean, it's the name Duplicatorb. I don't think it's that great, honestly. But especially because it hits its own duped pegs. Yeah. But if you're doing a duplication potion, it can be pretty good. But I'll put it in B tier. I think it's going to be bottom of B tier, but I'll put it in B tier because in a build, if the build wants it, it'll do very well, like it did last episode. And man, we're still on uncommon. Chemable Hazard. This is another slime. This is adding poison slime, which I always want to like poison slime. I don't think poison slime is that great. So as much as I want to add this to the other slimes, it definitely doesn't belong with the other slime. Honestly, I think it probably is somewhere in B tier. Fun-wise, I like it. I think it's more fun than double damage slime, right? But it doesn't do a lot. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it here because, you know, I think the reason it's still relatively high is any slime is good in a slime build, because there's so many good things about sliming up the board, and so just the fact that it's slime in general definitely doesn't belong in C tier with Rub Orb. I think B tier is solid. We then have Crit Spelos. This just constantly is triggering crits, and also when you draw it, it creates crits. And also if you discard it, the next orb fired is a guaranteed crit, which actually I don't think I remembered that. This is just kind of cracked, honestly. I mean, it is a 1-2. That's the problem. It's a 1-2, so it will be triggering a crit a lot, which can be good for certain relics. But the fact that... What was the other crit orb that I put so high? Or have we even gotten to that yet? No, we haven't gotten to that. There's a different crit orb that I like a lot more than this. It's good. It's Refresh Circle for crits. Yeah, the fact that you get it, honestly, the fact that it's the when discarded is kind of crazy, actually. I didn't really know that. I think that in itself makes it fall in my infinite value kind of thing. You know, you're instantly getting crits, and then you can discard it. So I gotta probably put it in A tier. Probably pretty high up too. Once again, infinite value goes burr. I will put it here. Even though I think it probably is better than Orbust, I think Orbust is just so consistent. But I definitely high A tier. Then we have more slime. This is the damage reduction slime. Each damage reduction slime on the board reduces incoming damage and melts off once used. I think before this, the damage reduction slime used to melt off a little bit. Oh, I skipped some things. Wait a minute. Never mind. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Yeah, here's Chopping Balak. This adds shields, and it does more damage for the shields. Same thing for the other shield thing. I mean, it can be good. It can be good in Act 2, but kind of same thing. Like, unless you're doing a shield build, because wait a minute. Forbification, yeah, that adds shields as well. I think it's better. It's definitely better than the other one. I'm gonna still put it D tier. I will put it at highest of D tier, but I don't know. It's hard to judge those, honestly, because they can be really good. Like, if you can get the mythical shield build, like, it's crazy. But I think they're so inconsistent. We then enter Refurbisher, which is another upgrading orb, actually. It's an upgrading orb that I believe ends up upgrading more than Swoltorb. The problem is it has no damage. But it is double the upgrading. Which is good. It is good. I think anytime you're upgrading the board, it's good. I think the fact that it does low damage hurts. So, like, you really need to be wanting to do an upgrade build. Like, Swoltorb is so good because it upgrades and it does decent damage, right? But I don't want to put it at C because upgrading the board is very versatile. Upgrading the board's good in a lot of builds. But, yeah, the fact that it has no damage, I'm going to put it at bottom of B tier, I think is where I think it fits. So then we now have damage reduction slime. I think that's also B tier. I think it can be good, but I think it's definitely worse than the poison slime on. I don't know. There's certain situations where it can be good, but the fact that it like goes away after a little bit, I don't know. I'll put it right next. Because once again, slime in general is good. No matter what slime a lot of the times. So I'll put it next to this slime. But, you know, because it can be good. That damage reduction really can help. Then we have a lure circle, which is an orb that gives you Ballusion for the pegs that you hit and also for the gold that you collect. I don't know if that was new or not. It's good. If you're doing a Ballusion build, it's really good. You're getting multiple different ways to gain Ballusion. So it will give you a lot of Ballusion a lot of the times. I don't think it's incredible or anything. I probably B tier, but probably I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna put it middle of B tier. Because yeah, I don't know. It's solid. It's decent. It can be build defining in a bulwark build, or sorry, a Ballusion build or whatever. But yeah, we'll do that. Now we have Snowball. Now, if this was old patch, this shit would be F tier. This got buffed up so much. So now, you know, the more that you hit in a combat, the more pegs you hit. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger. The reason it sucked before was, you know, say you have to hit 25 before it upgrades. If you didn't hit 25 in one throw, you would lose all the progress. But it now like saves its value. So say you're at level 3, 15, every 15 hit, it upgrades. So you get 13, and you don't get that upgrade. Next time you throw Snowball or the next Snowball thrown, it will continue its progress, and that makes it feel so much better and perform better. And Act 4 exists, and it's very good. It's very good. I think Snowball is now happily. And it can eventually do AoE for ground units. I think Snowball, I don't know if I can go to put Snowball in S. No, I think because it scales if you have multiple Snowballs, and the fact that Act 4 exists, I'm going to put it in S tier, and I'll put it above Cauldron Bubble. I don't know if I can go as far as Magnet, because I think Magnet is straight up one of the best single target orbs. So let me zoom out a little bit here now. But yeah. Okay, man, we are already at an hour and a half. How many more do we? Okay, we're actually making good progress. I think we're about 60 to 70% here complete. Here's Orbalisk. We keep talking about Orbalisk builds. Orbalisks got changed relatively recently in the last year or so to become so much better. So because before I believe they just got buffed up with the Pebbles and Buldorbs in your deck. Now they do that eventually when you level them up. I think at level 1. Oh, no. At level 1, they keep getting buffed up. And then now when you upgrade them, they buff up Pebbles and Buldorbs, and at level 3, other Orbalisks. And so it's kind of hard to specifically decide where I like Orbalisks, but it is a build. It is a build that you can get from events, so you can get them more often if you want. And the fact that they buff up your other orbs, it's a two-way street. They buff up Pebbles, Buldorbs, and Orbalisks, and then they get buffed up as well by all of those things. The bonus was buffing up others. I thought they always just buffed up themselves. I don't know. I misremember things a lot. But either way, honestly, Orbalisks are one of those things that I would say I don't do crazy often. Like, if you're not doing an Orbalisk build, you don't want Orbalisks. Orbalisk is horrible if you're not doing an Orbalisk build. But if you are doing an Orbalisk build, they're crazy. They can get to crazy amounts of damage. Early game, you get an Orbalisk from some of those events or things like that, and you can upgrade it, and then the fact that it like buffs up your other things is crazy good. They always buff themselves, and they got changed to buff other orbs. Okay, yeah. So I'm definitely gonna put it S tier. I think I'm gonna put it at bottom of S tier because it's you know, you don't want to do an Orbalisk build all the time, but it is a build in itself. And I think there's something really cool about that. I wish I could properly do things for Orbalisk builds, but unfortunately they're hard to get working. I think, well, okay, there is a slight caveat. Orbalisk builds are so much better on default Peglin and on Orbalisks, or sorry, default Peglin and Baltazár, because Spinventor and Roundrill cannot find Bold Orb. And I did forget about that. So honestly, it gets a lot worse if you're not one of those two classes, because it's just so much more less consistent. When you can have Bold Orb being an AoE element of an Orbalisk build, it's really good. I think I gotta drag it down out of S tier though. And maybe even behind Bold Orb, because Bold Orb you can find without committing to the build. Man, oh, I feel bad. Okay, I think it'll be third. I think it'll be third. Those two classes also can't get Orbalisk outside of the events. Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe that's why I thought that was the case, because there's a lot of events that want you to take Orbalisks. I think I still feel pretty safe with where this where this is. Then we have Matryoshka, which is a default Peglin only. Default Peglin is the only one that is allowed to have multi-ball, or sorry, Matryoshka. It gets more multi-ball and more multi-ball. They do always can only be 1/2, so it's pretty hard. But Matryoshka is easy S tier. Easy S tier. Unbelievable. Unbelievable in so many different types of builds, and upgrade builds, and crit builds, and refresh builds, in slime build. Well, yeah, you could do a slime build on default Peglin. You can only find it on default Peglin, but honestly, it is just straight up one of the best orbs in the game. I don't think I can put it above Ek Orb for me, because I think Ek Orb, every class will... Oh man. I'm trying to think. If I'm playing default Peglin and I'm offered Ek Orb and I'm offered Matryoshka, I think it is more fun than Ek Orb. I think I gotta say Ek Orb is just... It's the best AoE orb in the game. I don't think I can say it's better than Ek Orb. But it is one of the best orbs in the entire game. We then have Poltergeist, which used to be my favorite AoE orb way back when, several years ago. This is also one of the AoE orbs that hit anything, flying enemies or ground enemies. They pass through pegs while traveling upwards, which is kind of interesting. There's some interactions where that kind of matters. And it can become a 3/5. Honestly, it's still... I think it deserves S tier, honestly, still. I think it's hard for me to not put Ek Orb, Poltergeist, and Cauldron Bubble all in S tier for me, because of how important AoE is in the game. Now, Act 4, AoE becomes a little bit less important, but like, this can get you to Act 4. I definitely think it's worse than Cauldron Bubble, but I just value AoE so dang high. Matryoshka carried my first Crucible 21. Nice, yeah, Matryoshka is sick. Old Ghost still has it 40 plus months later. What do you mean by that? Okay. But yeah, definitely, you know, as there's been more new and exciting orbs, I think it's been a little bit less exciting, but I'm always excited about it. If like, especially if I need AoE, you know, it's hard to turn down. We then have Critty Ball. This I think is definitely better than the other crit orb, here. It doesn't give you infinite value, but you're guaranteed a crit. You will turn things into crits. Actually, I might change my mind on this. You're guaranteed a crit on it, and it's a 0/6, right? Which is decent. It's okay. Because it's effectively a 6/6, right? You're guaranteed to hit a crit. You turn something into a crit. You turn more things into a crit, and it won't waste the crits. So I don't know. I wouldn't say it's an infinite value like some of the other things, because you do have to throw the orb. Doesn't it trigger a crit when drawn? I don't think so. You can also only get one crit specifically on this orb. Yeah. I think it's really good. I thought that I was going to like this more than the other one, but I think I disagree. I think if you are doing a crit build, it's very good. Honestly, I would probably put it top of B tier. And on draw is basically no different than when discarded. I think it only activates its own crit. I think it only is activating itself. If you discard that, I think you lose the crit. Unless, if you guys are saying that if you discard this orb, the crit stays onto the next orb, then I would maybe then put it into A tier. But if it doesn't, I think it's just B tier. But top of B tier. Like if you're doing a crit build, it's really good. It does uncrit your pants if you discard it. Yeah, I think you lose the crit. I think it's just for it. So it's just like decent, you know. Here's Bob Orb. We all know what Bob Orb does. When you draw it, you convert some things into bombs. Now, I believe that's at level 1 and then level 2 and 3. And then you're converting your first hit into a bomb, and you then convert more into a bomb. There's no way that Bob Orb isn't S tier, right? I mean, like, if you're doing a bomb build, which arguably are some of the most fun builds and some really good builds. Now, there is something to be said about Act 4. Bomb builds can be a bit scary in Act 4, but Bob Orb is insane. It is such a good form of AoE. There's a lot of really good interactions with it. Bob Orb definitely S tier. I think, honestly, higher than a lot of the other AoE builds because of the synergy inherently that comes from a bomb build. Higher than Snowball, sure. I hate to do it, but higher than Magnet, higher than Concentration. There's infinite value here with Refresh. Honestly, I want to now move. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna move this Refresh circle over this because this is only if you're doing a crit build. This is all the time, every time. I want to put Bob Orb there. I think Bob Orb deserves to be really high. Not very often do you not want this. Once again, Act 4 does make you not want it as much, but you could always take it for going up until Act 4, honestly. There's too much media out there of bomb builds breaking the game for Bob Orb to not be S tier. Yeah. Okay. It would trigger things like vitamin C when drawn. Yeah, you would get one use out of it. Are we in rare orbs now? Okay, we did make it to rare orbs. Orbalisk was our rare orb. Here we have Docked Orb, which is a default Peglin only orb. It just heals you. We used it last episode. It just heals you. It got buffed a while back. It used to get removed from your deck at level 1. It heals you. It's a lot of healing. Honestly, if you're default Peglin, it's very good. It's very, very, very good. Honestly, it's probably an insta take if you're default Peglin. I think it deserves a spot in S tier. Hard to not put it really high up. I mean, you can just straight up full heal every single combat. Not a lot of things that'll let you do that. So I think it can't beat Refresh Circle. I think it's got to be S tier. And I did, if we keep talking about High Crucible, one of the last edited videos we did was I made like a 30-minute video, a very highly edited video, talking about how to beat High Crucible. And so it's a whole guide on how to beat High Crucible. And one of the tips that I said in that video is, at least with default Peglin, all of the orbs that are only on default Peglin are really good. That goes for a lot of classes as well. You know, they're specific class only relics. I think Baladin's maybe fall down a little bit. Spinventor's default orbs are really good, but yeah, I gotta put that very high. Can we make it Nosferatu only too? Yeah, here we have Nosferatu. Here is another healing orb. I believe this is also only for default Peglin. I have thrown so many runs with this orb. This heals you, but then hurts you, and it keeps hurting you more and more and more that you use. And even at level 3, it does 15 unblockable self-damage every time you fire it. And I hate it. I hate it, and I refuse to take it, and it's F tier. It's F tier. It has maybe saved my build 1 or 2 times, but then 1 or 2 of those times also then threw me the game later. I hate it. I hate it so bad. I think there's probably more uses for it than the shitty ass Necromancer thing, but, yeah, It definitely F tier. It's a healing orb that can kill you before healing. Yeah. I love it just because it saved me so many times. The couple times it saved me, it then ends up throwing later. It's horrible. Funny that 3 skull orbs are all in the bottom tier. Yeah. It just sucks. It sucks so bad. Shock Absorber. This is one of the best orbs you could possibly get in a bomb build. It does more damage in the combat for the bombs that have been detonated, even more if they were red bombs. And what makes it so good is if you're holding on to it, you'll take a lot less red bomb damage. But more importantly, even if it is in your deck, if it is in your deck and you have gotten it here to level 3, globally, you take 1 less damage from red bombs. So it becomes one of the most OP orbs you could take in a bomb build and then protects you from red bombs. So I think this has to be S tier. Honestly, I don't see a way that this is not S tier. Probably right up there with Bob Orb. I think it deserves to be right up with Bob Orb. The question is, which is higher? I think Bob Orb is higher because Bob Orb can be good outside of a bomb build, just as a side little thing. Shock Absorber, you're not going to want to take very much outside of a bomb build. And honestly, that makes me want to make it lower, but what makes it stay really high is that if you are doing a bomb build, it is the strongest orb you could take. Maybe besides Bob Orb. I don't know. But yeah, it's very good. We then have Best Orb Fence. This is one of my least used orbs in the entire game, actually. It deals more damage the more bulwark that you have. It does pierce all enemies. Well, that doesn't mean it hits everyone. That means it pierces. So if you aim on the bottom, you're gonna hit all the bottom. If you aim at the top, you're not really gonna do anything. Maybe hit 2 unless you have grabby hand. The same reason that I don't like self-harm builds or orbs is if I have a lot of bulwark, I'm never getting a lot of bulwark. Like if I get a lot of bulwark and I'm on High Crucible, that bulwark is just saving my ass from damage. Very rarely do I actually stack a lot of bulwark. And honestly, for me, I'm not going to put it in F tier. But honestly, I think it's D. I just don't like it. 4-8 is decent. I will give it that. You know what? Maybe I'm undervaluing it because a 4-8 that pierces everyone. Like I said, AoE's strong. I think I'm shitting on it too much. I'll bump it up to C. I don't use this orb at all though. But if it's got AoE, I keep saying, AoE is yeah, fuck, okay. Feels weird. It's just a regular sized bold orb. Yeah, and I guess that is an interesting way to put it. Though it can't get buffed by orbalisks, right, is one thing. And I would argue an orb being bigger is better for me. I am now aware that you play Balladin fundamentally wrong. I still think Balladin's one of the best. It's not like I struggle with Balladin. I think Balladin's one of the best classes High Crucible in the game. But you guys do bring up good points. I think it's just the fact that I never use this orb. I think I don't use it because of that. Didn't it used to take all of your bulwark upon use? Oh, maybe. Did this get buffed? Or is that a different orb? No, irresponsible. Yeah, irresponsible, which we'll get to later. I'll move it up. I just don't think I don't ever use it. I'll give it to y'all. A 4-8 with piercing is good. I'll give it the respect it probably deserves. I think it's probably lower than the slime for me. I just really have not often gotten a hoarding bulwark build. But I don't know. This is something that I'm going to admit is being brought down by my lack of faith in the orb. But maybe I'll have to try. You know what? Just because I'm having so many people, I will move it up. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's got to be better than Sphere. It does have to be better than Sphere. I'll give you guys that. I'll put it there. Top mid of B. Not going to go any higher than that. And okay, Balinx. Balinx does splash damage to enemies to the left and right of the target. And it can become an 8/10. I don't know how that works with Aliens Rock. I don't take Balinx very often. 8/10's decent. I'm going to just put that in B tier. I think it's solid. It's good. It's just good. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm going to put it higher than this, even though it probably doesn't deserve that because I do use it more. Balinx, I want you to look at tier 1 and 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 8, 10. That does get a big jump at tier 2. With Aliens Rock, it does hit 5 instead of 3. Okay, yeah. So I'm glad. Yeah, this is solid. It's good. I have taken it before. It's one of those orbs that I don't take if I have AoE, right? If you have really good AoE, I don't think it's that great. It does have a lot of damage. So if you have Aliens Rock or you don't have AoE, it can be really good. Signal Boost Orb is really cool. It is affected by Muscle, Spinesse, and Balance 2 times, then 3 times, then 4 times. So it becomes, if you have a crit or a Muscle build or Balance, it is very good. It can do some more damage than most other orbs. I will say, this is not a great orb until later in the game. So a lot of the times I won't take Signal Boost Orb until I am later in the game. But it's good. It's good and probably very worthy of A tier. And honestly, because I don't want to put it at S tier because one, not every build really wants to utilize it. Now, the fact like a crit build and a non-crit build or a balanced build will all want it. But only if you've got like a decent bit of it. If you just have a little bit of it, I don't take it. It's like I want a build that has a lot of scaling via those stats. But if you do, it is ridiculous. So I'll give it top of A tier. I'll give it top of A tier. I do know you would never find the perfect strength of Balinx because you always talk about failing to target properly. True. Here we have Double Double. And Double Double got buffed, technically. It used to do damage. It now will never do damage. But level 1 doubles Spinfection. Level 2 doubles Spinfection, Darkness, and Exploitable. Or whatever. And then at level 3 doubles every negative status effect. The fact that Act 4 exists, like if you want to do a poison build, you need Double Double. If you're doing what's it called? An exploitable build, it's now crazy good. If you're doing darkness, it's crazy good. I think Double Double is definitely S tier. If you're wanting any kind of status effect build, it is God tier. Definitely better than Cauldron Bubble. It has to be the best poison orb because it is the best poison orb. I will put it, yeah, because the power of doubling is so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. Yeah, and it can do damage if you have damage buff. So it's not one of the orbs that literally cannot do any damage. If you find a way to up your damage, it can do damage. Yeah, definitely S tier, for sure. I think, man, it might honestly be more than bombs. I think the reason it wouldn't be more than bombs is bomb builds can be a very good side build to a lot of builds. But Double Double is horrible if you're not doing status effects. If you're doing any amount of status effects, they're really good. Once again, power of doubling, insane. But yeah. We then have Go for the Icicle, which I believe does, at level 3, less damage than Icicle. Let me double check this here. Where's Icicle? No, 4/8. So it does a little bit less than Icicle. Otherwise, it operates the same way. It pierces the first peg. On a crit, it will pierce everyone. On a regular attack, it'll pierce one enemy. So it's just a slightly lower damage Icicle, but it applies darkness. And I kind of like it, honestly. I'm a relatively big fan of it. I think it probably deserves to be right around Icicle. I would probably say it's a little bit better because in Act 3 and Act 4, darkness can be really broken when you can stack it pretty high. This orb is -1, -2 from Icicle and has darkness amounts balanced around old darkness Etterball. Yeah, it's not a lot of Icicle. I will say that 6 isn't a lot. You are right. I'll lower it. I'll lower it behind Icicle. 6 is not a lot. I do still like it though. Decent piercing if you need things like that. Yeah. Here we have Spintress Payment. Spintress Payment is very good. Very good. It is adding 6 darkness as opposed to 11. It's not a lot of things, but I think I'm still gonna say it's A tier, and I wanted it to be next to Icicle. But you are nailing down how low amount of a darkness that is. I don't think I can take it out of A tier though, because I do value it decently. But you know what? I'll put it bottom of A tier. I'll put it bottom of A tier. I don't think I can take it out of A tier though. Okay. Spintress Payment. This is a good ass orb, y'all. It has the potential to be one of the strongest orbs in the game. I think Spenny Bank is, I think, better than this. Technically, this is definitely better than Highway Orbery. In most situations. So this just gets more damage the more gold that you are holding on to. It does still require you to hit orbs, right? So it's not something that, like Piggy Bank, that we'll get into later, that doesn't matter the amount of orbs that you hit, but it's definitely better than Highway Orbery, I think. The only instance in which it's not better than Highway Orbery is Highway Orbery can be decent outside of a money build. Just if you're like, hey, I just want a single solid damage build, you know, and you can just kind of upgrade it here and there if you have things that you don't need to upgrade. The thing that sucks about Spintress Payment is like you need to be doing a money build. If you were doing a money build, or like if you're taking Spintress Payment, it has to be because you're doing a money build, and in particular an interest build. And so I do think I think there are some instances which Highway Orbery could be better than Spintress Payment, but I do think Spintress Payment, if you are doing an economy build, which is one of the strongest builds in the game with the interest relic, it is bonkers. I think the situationalness of it makes it hard to put in S tier or even high A tier. But I'm going to put it relatively high in A tier because if you were doing an economy build, one of the best orbs you could have in the entire game. It is so good. So good. But yeah. Then we have Balm, which just adds healing slime. It can only be used once per battle though, but it is a source of healing, and I think that makes it stronger than any of the other slime effects. I definitely don't think... It's like I want to put it S tier, but Balm has disappointed me a lot. It really has, but it's hard to undervalue how useful healing is in combat, because there's a lot of healing outside of combat, right? But I think I gotta put that pretty high. Hard to put that higher than Ballad, because once again, like if you're doing any amount of crits, Ballad I think is one of the best orbs in the game. But healing slime is good, but Balm isn't the best way to get it. Yeah, like Balm can be really, really inconsistent. But you know what? I'm going to bump it down 2. Because I think this is crazy value for crit builds, and I think this is one of the just most solid value orbs. But it's hard to understate how good healing in combat is. You would put it under Generator. Oh, under the slime. You are right. You are right that... what's it called? I think I'm still going to keep it there because I do agree that lot better ways to get healing slime via relics or potion vault, which we're actually going to look at here in a second. But if you need healing, I think that is like a godsend. It has saved many a run, so I'm going to keep it there. Summoning Circle, Spinventor and default Peglin only. It just summons copies of the next orb in your deck. And I think there's no way that this isn't S tier, because it literally takes any orb and makes it better. Now, it could be a bad orb. It could be a bad orb. But even then, if you level it up to level 3, even a bad orb in your deck, if you're taking Pebbles or Terror Balls or something like that, multi-ball of that is very good. So at the very least, it would be helping you refresh, like get things or whatever. I think objectively, it's better than Restorb, but for my money, if it copies a Restorb, you don't get the max health from it, I don't believe. So I'm going to keep Restorb as number 1. But definitely S tier. That's like one of the easiest S tiers like I've ever had. A Summoning Circle. Because then if you have multiple Summoning Circles in a row, you're then like getting even more. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so we're nearing the end tier of these rare orbs, besides some of the other class ones. But Replenish Orb, we're also at 2 hours. This is crazy. I did not think it was going to be this long. Holy hell. But I guess this is what happens when you do every orb. So when fired, refresh the board. It is nice to have a guaranteed thing. You'll turn things into refreshes, and it doesn't waste refreshes. Does this eventually discard? This doesn't ever make it where you can discard an orb or discard it to get infinite value. But the fact that it insta refreshes and then it creates a bunch of refreshes, but it does it once you fire it. It's very good. It's a very good orb. There's pretty much any of these refresh orbs are like god tier if you need refreshes. We need to do a tier list just on Restorb. It's hard for me to decide whether I want this S or A. I think I'm going to go A because maybe it's like second on A. It's crazy good, right? Any of the orbs that let you not get refresh screwed are great. Like if I need refresh solutions, I'm kind of happy to take any of them. I do think this is definitely not as, you can't get infinite value with this. You will need to fire the orb. But I mean, it helps you with refreshes. And I mean, Otherwheel here is for the same reason. And this does damage too. Like 2-4, not a lot. And it just adds a lot of refreshes to the board when you use it. So definitely that. We then have Lazorb. How many? We got technically 4 or 5 more pages here. So we're in the home stretch here, especially because we're gonna look at Assemble kind of combined. But so Lazorb here is quirky. It's really hard to explain. It literally just like fires off and it goes crazy and it does a bunch of lasers everywhere. Like it is a laser. Or whatever. Can pierce through things, has low gravity. If you know how to use it, it can be good. It only goes up to a 2-4, which I think hurts it a little bit, because it can't be that great high, but you can get out of refresh stuck situations. You know, all of the reasons that I love concentration, right? But it's like, I don't know. I think it's solid. I think the low damage kills it a little bit. I'm going to put it in B tier. Some people might hate that. There are many a time when I don't necessarily want it, but it can be good. It really can. But it's not build defining. I think Concentration's better in a lot of ways because Concentration's damage I feel like can get higher. I think Lazorb is a more, you know what? I'll put it A. I think I just don't use it a lot, but it probably deserves A. I won't put it above Bully Ball, but I'll give it A. I know there's a lot of Lazorb lovers. I'll give you A. I won't put it B, but a 2-4 is not a lot of damage. Here's Potion Ball, which is just something that you can only use once per battle. Can't do damage no matter what, but eventually multi-ball 3 and just slams Splime everywhere. Oh, did I skip something? I did skip. Oh, I skipped Collateral Ball damage. Whatever. We're doing Potion Ball. That is S tier. It is one of the best orbs in the game. That is a normally, hopefully better way to get healing slime. Sometimes you won't though. I think this is like one of the best orbs in the entire game. So I put it above or below bomb. I, for fun purposes, want to put it a lot higher, but I'm gonna put it at S because it's like always good. If you find that orb, you take that orb. You never not take that orb, really. Bomb stuff, there's reasons why you might not want to take bombs. You never not want potion vault, you know? So I'll take that. And it can have the chance to be better than Docked Orb, but also sometimes it won't save you when you need it to. But now we're gonna go back to collateral ball damage, which is the Bob Orb, but it spawns red bombs. And then the crazy thing about it is it just does damage based off of how many red bombs are on the board. And that's really good. You can just blast your way through Act 1 and Act 2. And that goes pretty hard. I think, but you can throw. I have thrown many a time. And I think the dangerousness of this orb prevents me from putting it to S tier. But it is good. It is good. It's so good. And it, like I said, it's one of those orbs that can sometimes not matter. Well, it matters on board state, but not on peg state or whatever, right? So yeah, we're going to editor cut to a short of TTG throwing via collateral ball damage. I'll put it above Orbalisk because it's kind of situational like Orbalisk, but as long as you're careful with it, not like me, it's really good. It's really good. Okay, so now we have Glass Half Ball, which I don't know if it got buffed, but when you draw it, it applies Transferency to everyone, so you'll do a little bit of piercing to everyone, and then it applies Transferency on hits. So it is technically an AoE orb in itself. I just tend to, I feel like the delay and the payoff isn't that great. Now it is, I think the fact that you can have an infinite value with it is good, right? If you just draw it and then discard it, you've applied 30% piercing to all enemies, right? And that's really good. That's really good. Yeah, I think it's great. And yeah, if you're doing status effect builds, it is so freaking good. It is so good. I'm scared to put collateral ball in S tier. Just have restraint. It makes the other status orbs hit everyone. Yeah. I think because of the fact that it can be infinite value, I think I just don't take it and I don't utilize it a lot. But I got to understand the value and the infinite value. But you know, it's not like a crazy amount of infinite value. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it here next to the crit infinite value. I think it's very good. It's very good. Very, very good. And yeah, look, we're nearing the end here. Okay, what else we got here? Jupitorb. Jupitorb is just weird, honestly. It's really weird. It technically pierces, so not hitting everyone, but piercing all on the ground or maybe on the some on the sky, depending on what relics you have. And it just is shooting out lasers and things like that. The problem is it's a 1-2. It never gets higher than a 1-2. And I know that there's some people that like it. I hate to do it. I'm putting it in C tier. I'll put it like relatively high in C tier. I just don't. I haven't found too much success with it, honestly. The fact that it's piercing, that's not a lot of damage. Not a lot of damage. It's too quirky. The payoff isn't that great. Honestly, I'm going to put it behind Pumpkin. I think that's where I want it. Actually, behind Infernorb. Because this still has, it could be very good in a bomb build, or if you can sustain. I'll put it middle of C. I don't think it's very good. It's very fun. It's very fun. It doesn't work very often for me. And now we have special orbs. These are going to be very easy. Terror Ball, F tier. This is only being added to your deck because of a Crucible. Not good. First thing I remove almost all of the time, but you can remove it. That's decent. We then have Ouroboros, or Orboros, I mean. This is an event-only relic. It's interesting. It is It has Echo, so you in order to get it, you have to take an event that removes all of your orbs, and you get multiple uses out of it, and they echo off of each other. It used to be so strong, but if you're not Spinventer or Orboros, kind of sucks. Its value is so low, and I've thrown so many runs. I think Orboros deserves to be buffed. I don't think it would go to D tier because it can be very fun, and honestly, because of theoretically how build defining, I'll put it like kind of mid C, but it does too little damage, honestly, for me to enjoy it. Honestly, you put Terraball higher than the skulls. Oh, yeah, that's about right. Fuck these orbs. Fuck these orbs. Terraball could do something. Fuck these orbs. I still agree with that. Yeah, also that thing probably sucks in Act 4, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. There's some cool things you can do with it. Yeah, Terraball gets added, yeah. Then there's Mirrb, which is an event that you get in Act 3. And if you take what most people take, because you don't ever really want to remove half your orbs randomly, right? So you'll take Mirror Orb and just randomly turns into one of your orbs. I mean, this is like probably like, I don't know, top of B tier. I'll put like a bottom of A, because in Act 3, you should have good orbs, and copying a good orb can be good. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I'll put it in A tier. It's kind of hard to say, right? This is just a orb list for the game in general. I'm normally thinking of High Crucible and Act 4 and things like that, but I don't know. That's a weird orb to do. We then have Egg, which is right. A lot of these are events now at this point. This is just a one-time use. It can heal you a little bit. And if you get lucky, like we did last episode, you can turn it into a different event in Act 2, get the cake, 50 max HP. I mean, but then you're constantly having to discard it. Like, the payoff very rarely happens. It's a funny meme. Probably better than Orboros, for sure. Better than Jupiter, better than... I'll put it there. I'll put it there. I don't think it deserves to be better than Jack-Rib Lantern. It's decent. It's good. It can be good. Great if you get the cake relic, but it's normally just like something that eats up, like takes up space, and you might heal 10 to 20, you know? It can be a solid get out of jail free card, you know? And there are some bosses in Act 1, like the slime boss, who, you could get even more healing out of it, or if you have upgraded things. So it's okay. Belectrum is something I never really take anymore either. Wait, I thought this could always... Did they buff this? This is an event you get from an event in Act 1 if you do something. I don't know. I don't know if you have to pay or lose HP, something like that. And it turns Peg's hit into a gold orb. No, I'm thinking of something. No, because this isn't multi-ball. I must be thinking of something else. I don't know what I'm thinking of. Did they change this? I just haven't taken this in forever. I do think this... A gold orb... Does it remove things off of the board? It costs all of your gold, but creates gold multi-balls. So then they fall, I see. So it deletes the pegs. It turns pegs into further multi-balls. But it can't do damage. Well, it can do damage if you buff it up. This is such a weird orb. I don't really know where to put this, honestly. I never take this. It's the cost of losing all of your gold. I'm gonna put this like right next to Egg. I don't really know where to put this. I'm gonna put it under Egg. I'm gonna put it under Orboros, honestly. It's hard for me to value where that is. Then we have Horrible, which is definitely worse than Terraball because you cannot remove it from your deck. But, it's big. Theoretically, big fish energy. Definitely better than these orbs. I hate these orbs, the passion. Though, I'm going to get over myself and at least do that. Yeah. I think it's hard for me to objectively say that this, because Terror Ball also does damage. This thing doesn't do damage. Terror Ball does a little bit of damage. So when Balectra first came out, I think it used to do damage and it was absolutely broken. I remember it being very broken and then it got nerfed. Orb is a new event relic. It counts as a pebble, so if you're doing an Orbalisk build, very good. And if you remove it, you get a bunch of gold. The more you upgrade it, the more gold you get. It's also very funny to watch. I think Orb's really good. Just in the fact that you can remove it, you get a lot of gold. You can turn that into a lot of things. Definitely better than Mirror Orb, probably. Yeah, I'll put it... I don't know. It's a lot of gold you get. I'll put it middle of A tier. And that's something. You can at least remove Horrible by means that cost you nothing. I don't get it. What else we got here? Okay, so this is an orb that you literally cannot find in the game itself. This is only a custom orb only that you unlock once you beat Act 4. And this is, you steal the eyeball out of the final boss. And it is weird as hell. We've only used it once in one video. You get lifesteal and you get intangible and you gain Muster Coal, and that's all good. It also deals max health damage, so I guess you're also if an enemy has healing, which there's not a lot of enemies that you need to worry about healing. The thing that sucks about it, though, is not even... because you add fire to any exited slot, so you're going to start hurting yourself, which you have life steals. It's probably okay. But it adds black holes after attacking. And that will just eat up your orbs, and it's not good. I don't know. It's so quirky, but I feel like it's not actually that good in the one time I experienced it. I'm gonna put it bottom of C because I just might be underutilizing it, but I don't know. A bit weird. With Act 4 relics, you can add 2 Horriballs and then remove 3. That's interesting. What else we got here? So now, okay, so now we're just in, these are the last orbs here in the tier list. These are the orbs that are specifically for other classes that default Peglin is not allowed to find. Because we're just looking at default Peglins here. So, I believe this is a common. I think that's how this is organizing this. I don't know. But Swarb, there's nothing special about it. It's just solid damage, honestly. Orb is a worse pebble. What do you... because if you remove it, you get so much money. Which is funny. It's funny that the reason I like Orb is because if you remove it, something good happens, right? But... yeah, no, I like Orb. Swarb, nothing special about it. Just does damage. Which, you know... it's hard to be excited about that, honestly. I'll... yeah, I don't know. Kind of B tier. It's decent. I'll put it above that gold orb. I don't really like the gold orbs too much. Whatever. Maybe that one. But there we go. Okay. We then have Warbhammer, which has overflow, and which is nice. It is dense, which isn't the best. And it has overflow. It does destroy shields in one hit. And it attacks, deal full damage to enemy shields. It's just like, it's another decent orb. It has overflow. Definitely better than Swarb, but it's not that exciting. Very situational. And I'm gonna put it. I'm just put it 1 over Swarb. It's definitely better than Swarb with the overflow, but I'm just never excited about that. We then have, and those are Balladin only, I believe. I think this is Balladin only too. Orblation, this can target anyone, but it hurts you with unblockable self-damage. It can eventually go up to 913, and it'll only do 4 unblockable self-damage. Once again, everybody was hating on me. I'm Not the biggest fan of the self-damage orbs. And it's not even giving you a buff. It's just doing like damage, right? I'm gonna put it right next to this other self-damage, just in C tier. I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for that, but I don't like the self-damage, especially because it's on Baltazár, and it's still gonna hurt you, even though you have all this shield, right? Why is Nosferatu in F tier? Because it's horrible. I hate it so bad. I hate it so bad. It's maybe saved 1 or 2 of my runs in my life, and then those runs later, it then threw me. It deserves it. It knows what it did, and it deserves to be there. Roundabout. This is a round drill only orb. Crit attack. Crit attacks have it fire backwards, and then it adds exploitable. And it, at level 3, pierces an enemy. So the reason this is decent, well, 1, exploitable, right, is good. 2, it's extra good against like bosses or like things like, bosses that spawn things and stuff like that. I really like Roundabout. It can give you a little bit of piercing. It's never that great for me, but it's never bad. I have taken it before. I don't think I could put it in A tier. I think it's like low B. I think like maybe lower than, or like slightly higher than Lightning. Because it does provide a little bit if you're doing crit. I'll do that. We then have Renewed Vig Orb. It adds Mustical every 3 times the board is refreshed, which is horrible. Literally does nothing. Level 2, every 2 times. Horrible. Literally does nothing. And then eventually adds 1 Mustical every 1 time the board is refreshed. Which... you're literally like throwing such a... This would be better if it had more damage. And also, I don't understand why it does more crit damage than it does non-crit damage. I don't really understand this, and you need to upgrade it so much. I think this is one of the worst orbs in the game, honestly. Most of the time, I would probably rather have a Pebble. That's hard to believe, but this is such a bad orb. I think it's so bad. We then have Angry Tomahawk, which I think is a reference to Angry Tom. Shout out to him. It just gains damage equal to your missing health. And if your max health is lower than 100, the difference contributes to the damage calculation. So Angry Tomahawk is fun. I don't take it very often, but it can be a get out of jail free card. It doesn't do a lot, but the times that it's useful, it can be good. It's just, sometimes I'll take it and I end up never needing it. So I think it's probably C tier, but honestly, I'll put it top of C tier. I will. Irresponsible. This does more damage for the amount of bulwark that you were holding onto yourself, and it has overflow. The reason this is the worst, one of the worst orbs in the entire game for me is, I mean, I was shitting on the other bulwark, the other bulwark things that did damage, or, scaled up with bulwark. This wants you to have a lot of bulwark, but then it takes away all of your bulwark. This is a horrible orb. I think this is a horrible... Honestly, I think this is F tier. I genuinely think that's F tier. Probably better than Terror Ball. I think it's F tier. Though... Probably better than these. Yeah. Baltazár's orbs, especially the rare ones, are very polarizing. I know, it's funny. I think Baltazár's one of the best classes in High Crucible. I hate a lot of Baltazár's orbs. Please put Irresponsible in D tier. I don't know. I hate it. Everything about this orb screams anti-synergy to me. Because you can't really use it multiple times in a combat. It wants you to hoard bulwark, and then it immediately takes the bulwark. It deserves to be an F tier. It knows what it did. All of these freaking orbs with faces, man. Jack-o'-lantern C. Matryoshka at least is S. And Bully Ball we put in A. But all these orbs with faces, man. We then have Double-Edged Sword. We're nearing the end here. When drawn, it immediately hurts yourself. Equal to number of pegs reduced by 25%. It also does damage to all enemies equal to the number of pegs. Though that might be the number of used pegs. I believe. And when you draw it, it does refresh the board. This thing could single-handedly just kill you. I'm gonna put it in maybe top of, I don't even know. It does so much damage. You just need to upgrade it immediately. Yeah, so it does less damage. I'll put it C tier. Put it in F. It knows what it did. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to put it in D. I'll put it in D. Middle of D. It's not a good orb, in my opinion. We then have Offering, which does self-damage, but it hits all enemies. But it does damage for all the enemies hit. So it's another orb that just murders you. And we all know how I feel about these things here, but at least it has piercing. But I'm gonna put it higher than a lot of the other self-damage orbs. Definitely C tier for me. Count orb attack, base damage increases the more damage you've taken this battle, and the damage multiplier increases at higher levels. So kind of like Angry Tomahawk, but it's for, you know, I guess this would be really good in self-damage builds, right? Which is probably part of the reason why a lot of Baladin's things hurt you specifically. I'm going to say Count Orb Attack is probably higher than most of the self-damage builds or orbs because it gives you a good payoff for all of them. But once again, it is an entire build built around a strat that I don't find very good. So I just got to put it in. I got to put it in C tier here. We then have Activate Orb. After attacking with or discarding this orb, the next orb fired gains plus X plus Y, where X and Y are this orb's regular crit damage. Count orb also works on enemy damage. The more damage you've taken. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it hits you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Activate Orb. This is one I don't use a lot, but I have a lot of people telling me it's really good. Because you can just buff up, like at level 3, you fire this or discard it. You buff up. Yeah, actually, I forgot that you can discard it. Even at level 2. Oh, wow. No, even at level 1. Even at level 1, if you discard this, you buff up the next orb. Yeah, I think this is just an orb I never use. I think this deserves A tier, though. I think this is probably one of the most underrated orbs for me personally. You can get funny numbers with not stat buffs. Yeah, it's a way to, you know, we always talk about some of these things being really good if you could find a way, you know, you use this into a lightning. That's crazy, right? Think Cactus or, yeah, Devouring. I think this is really good. I need to take this more, honestly. I'm gonna actually put this... I'm going to put this right there. I genuinely need to use this orb more. I undervalue that orb a lot. I always thought that there should be a special class for all the ring orbs that affect other orbs. Yeah, that'd be cool. Because a lot of them do tend to be Spin Venter. I think that's kind of Spin Venter's gimmick, right? Because we then have Rub his Orb. After attacking with or discarding this orb, the next orb fired becomes bouncy. I have maybe only taken this one time. I think turning things bouncy can be good. Hence the reason why Rub Orb is so good. But I don't know. Like, buffing up the damage of your next orb is almost like always good. If you still have like a low damage orb, I don't know. Maybe I'll make it B because I gotta respect infinite value. I think I just don't take this orb a lot. But the fact that you can discard it, really good. You know what? I will even buff it up here because I really value when things are infinite value. So then we have all of the assemble pieces, and I'm gonna just count assemble as an entirety. Like, well, no, I'm not gonna like count it as if it was fully completed because you almost never fully complete it. But assemble is on Spinventor. You can find different pieces of the assemble, and you can combine them. You don't have to upgrade it, which is nice. And so, like, damage sect orb gives it 4-0, right? Slime sect orb will make it start applying rubber slime, which is the worst slime, but Upgrade Sector, one of the better ones. It'll start upgrading things. Blast Sector, probably the best. It gives it attacks all enemies. And these are all 0/0s, but you have to be Spinventer to find this. You can't even find this on default Peglin. So by default, the assemble will be a 1/2 as long as you don't fuck it up and grab another assemble piece you've already taken. So then attacking everyone really good, and then a bunch of crit damage. So I think just in general, I probably would have to put assemble S. I'm not going to rank them all separately. I'm not. I'm going to put it S tier because it has the potential to be really good, and you don't have to upgrade it. You don't have to think about it. No, I'm going to actually put it top of A because there are some assemble pieces, like if you find like the crit or the non-crit or the slime first, not the best. But it can be so good. But it's not as... I'm going to put it there. Near top of A tier. Because it does require a lot of effort, but you don't have to upgrade it, and there's something to be said about that. And it can be really good. Because if you can get, like, it hitting everybody and it upgrading everything and then doing a lot of damage, and then if you get all of them, it does even more damage, which is cool. And we are on our last page of orbs here. So Spin Point, it is a small orb, which I don't like small orbs here. And this orb is affected by Spiness a lot of times. And then that is interesting. I don't even think I knew it did that. At level 2, it activates crits 2 times? And then it 3 times. I don't actually know if I have ever once in my 500 hours of game... No, I would have had to have taken this because otherwise I wouldn't have unlocked it. I never take this, but I don't like small orbs. But man, I don't remember it activating crits multiple times. You activate crits 3 times on 7, which that only matters if you have crits Malos or you have the other thing. But the fact that it's affected by Spiness a lot, I'll put that in A tier. Yeah, Criticris and Chris Malos value. There's something to be said about that. I think this is a very situational orb. So I'm going to put it under the other just thing here. But, you know, A tier. Instigatorb, another ring orb. After attacking with this orb, next orb hits everyone. Just more damage at level 2. And then at level 3, you can discard it. This is one of Spinventor's more consistent ways, I think, to do AoE, right? You make the next orb hit everybody. This is really good. I think this is arguably probably the best ring thing. Like I said, I think AoE is incredibly important. I think I'm going to put it right next to this other ring, honestly. I think it's better than the AoE. Honestly, I think buffing up other things could get be way stronger. I need to use these rings more, honestly, but infinite value is infinite value. This is another orb I never take for Spinventor. Sets a path when fired. The next orb fires a copy of itself in the direction with 0 force or 0.5x force or 0.5 and 1 force. So this is almost like a portal a little bit. If you don't hit a refresh, you might just be throwing it into nothing. It's an orb I never take. Probably should take better. Looking at what it does, it's probably decent. I mean, multi-ball is good. We have Summoning Circle at home at orb. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably somewhere in B. I just don't think I use it enough. I'll put it above some of this. I still think slime orbs for Spinventor go pretty hard. We then have Spinny Bank. So this is only for round roll. I don't know the math behind the difference between Spinny Bank and Spintress Payment, but it's very similar to Spintress Payment. It cannot get gold. It doubles gold that you hit on the board, and then it doesn't matter what it hits. It doesn't matter what orbs it hits. It just straight up does your gold value. At level 2, 1.5 your gold value, and at level 3, double your gold value. So there's, in my opinion, I think this is just probably better than Spintress Payment. Spintress Payment might be allowed to get to higher damage values, but it gives you more gold. So I think we got to throw that in A tier. Very good. We have Evasive Maneuver. Now this is round roll's starting orb. Gains Billusion when you attack, double Billusion if you crit, and it can target any enemy. And then I believe it just gets slightly more damage and slightly more Ballusion as it gets upgraded. I think this is... I wouldn't really ever take this on another class, but I think it's better than the other default orbs. I'll put it in somewhere in B tier. Probably above Lightning, right? Sphere's definitely the best starting orb. Allure Circle's a better way to gain Ballusion, but it could be okay. You know, not too bad. B. And then for our last orb in this entire tier list, we have one of the newer orbs, Spin Docked Orb. This is a weird orb. Probably the weirdest orb in the entire game. Every one unique upgraded / downgraded peg hit are multiplied by -2. And then eventually, when you flip a peg, you heal a little bit. And so this is a really weird orb to talk about because slime effects are way stronger technically if they're in the negatives. Also, if you can use Spin Docked Orb multiple times, right? If you have an orb that's valued 1 or higher and you hit it at a negative, you're now in negatives. But what happens when you multiply 2 negatives? They become positive again. So there's kind of a couple different ways to look at Spin Docked Orb. In one way, it's potentially a way to, if you're doing like a full-on slime build, it's also potentially a way, because whenever you flip from from positive to negative, you are healing. So it is a pretty consistent healing thing. And if you can hit the negative twice, you can get to really high values. So Spin Docked Orb is pretty good if you like are committing to very specific types of builds. It's also just, if you aren't committing to those types of builds and you take Spin Docked Orb, you will get heals, but you will ultimately be nerfing your entire board into the negatives. And until you bring Spin Docked Orb back, your whole board is negatives. And so this is another orb I don't really know how to feel about. I'm going to say either bottom of B tier or top of C tier, honestly. I'm going to do B tier because there is potential for it to go crazy. You just need to have a million IQ and you need to have a build very specific for it. But there we go. There we go. We've done it. We have ranked this is like 100 and something orbs. I don't even know how many orbs there are. I'm not going to count them right now. We're already at over 2.5 hour video. I did not know that this was going to take this long. My voice is already starting to die. Oh my God. But this is something that we have been wanting to do for a very long time. And, I'm pretty happy. I'm surprised. It was very interesting doing this live. I definitely think anytime I do a tier list going forward, I definitely want to do it live because it was very interesting and fun hearing y'all's opinions on things versus my opinions. I think the biggest thing that everybody seems to disagree with me on is, some people have very specific orbs they like that I might not like as much or value as much, but definitely the biggest things, the difference between me and a lot of y'all seem to be all of the self-damage orbs on Baltazár. I fucking hate them, and apparently a lot of y'all tend to like them. I don't. I think if you're on a lower Crucible, it can be good, but the second that I go on above Crucible 10, especially above Crucible 15, like if I'm gaining Bulwark on Baltazár, like I'm hoping and needing that to protect me. Especially once you get into caves on high Crucible. I want that Bulwark. I don't want to be hurting myself for sure. And I especially do not want to be consuming all of the Bulwark off of me. So for those of you guys, watching after the fact on YouTube, I'm sure you already have, but let me know what you think of my tier list. Let me know if there's an orb that I hated that you love, or if there's an orb that I love that you hate it. I'm very interested to hear everybody's opinions in the comments down below. And let me know if you want to do more. We did a tier list with all the orbs, so obviously the follow-up would be to do a tier list of every single relic in Peglin. So if that's something you guys want to see, let me know. We still have 2 relics that we need to find before that point. But let me know if you want to see more tier lists as well. I think the only other tier list we've done, we did a multiplayer card tier list in Slay the Spire 2. because we play a lot of co-op in that, and that's really fun. After that, I need to do a tier list of all of the Peglin tier lists. And I will. I put in an hour and a half of effort to getting all of these images today. So I will link in the description, and I'll link it here live in a second, a link to the Peglin 2.0 All Orbs tier list. If you want to make your own tier list as well, share it with friends or on Discord or whatever. But yeah, this is the completed tier list. Here we go. Let's get it all in one. There's a lot of orbs, but there it is, all together. This is my Peglin tier list here. For everybody to make fun of or judge and things like that. But it was fun. It was fun because it also kind of made me revalue and look at some other orbs I probably need to take more of, like this ring, some of these ring orbs and things like that. But I'm glad we did this. Took longer than I thought, but I'm glad we did it. And there we go. So I was not expecting this tier list to be as long as it was, though I suppose I should have known it was going to, considering there was over 110 orbs. So I had a lot of fun. Let me know if you want to see us do the same thing with a big relic tier list once we find the 2 remaining relics that we have not found. So, you know, let me know if you want to see that. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe, ring that bell like the big boy YouTubers say, to be notified when more Peglin content comes out. If there is some, it'll be on the screen right next to me. You know, check out if you haven't seen our like 400 plus episodes, all that'll be there. You know, the search continues for the 2 final relics, including the rarest relic ever. And, you know, let me know if you agree or disagree with any parts of this tier list. And if you're going to be grinding out some Peglin on your own, then I wish you guys luck. I'll see you all next time.